is Savardis. He's on the move, and they're going to look for Savardis in the corner. Touchdown!
Rowan heading for the touchpad with the lead, and the Profs will take the men's 400-yard freestyle relay.
Andrews will be in shotgun. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff. He'll throw it down the left sideline. He's going to wide open receiver. He's got the touchdown.
Oakland moving in. Sends one on goal, he scores!
And it is a power play goal!
Back to pass, middle of the field. The catch is made by Britt. She's off to the races at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Britt is in for the score.
Back on in, here's Yoxin. Yoxin to the backhand, trying to go to the front. Makes the move and shot, and he scores!
Smith delivers. That's it back toward the mound. Weiss has it in short. He steps on second, and the ball game is over. Massapequa Coast has won the 2023 New York State Little League Baseball Championship.
Live from Lombardi Field on the campus of Old Bridge High School in Old Bridge, New Jersey, the PDF Sports Network is proud to welcome you into coverage of Old Bridge Knights High School football. Tonight, the Knights look to make it back-to-back wins as they host the Chiefs of Piscataway Township High School. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, joined on the call tonight by my broadcast partner, Nicholas Bavona. And Nick, 2 weeks ago, the season opener between Old Bridge and Woodbridge ended in heartbreak for the Knights as they failed to score on a game-tying two-point conversion try. Last week, the Knights bounced back in a big way and picked up a convincing win over Edison High School. What worked during week 2 that allowed the Knights to get into the win column for the first time this season?
I think, Joe, overall for the Knights in that game, you saw a good balanced offensive game for them. You know, Brody Nugent had 185 passing yards, added 101 on the ground, so 4 total touchdowns for him in that game. We saw Jeremiah Dixon as well get involved in the running game with 53 yards rushing and a touchdown. And obviously the 2 big long touchdown passes to Aiden Rios and Jaden Griffith. So I think what really worked for the Knights in that game, good balanced offensive scheme as well as doing a great job on the defensive side of the ball, you know, preventing Edison from getting into the end zone until pretty much late in the second half. So overall in that game for the Knights, good start after that heartbreaking loss in week 1, as you mentioned. Now they go to 1-1 with a matchup with the Chiefs here tonight.
Last week, it was a comfortable lead for Old Bridge early against Edison, and we really saw this offense move the ball extremely well, both in the air and on the ground. As you mentioned, a very well-balanced attack. Obviously, this Knights team has a lot of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, but defense, they also had a great game on that side of the ball, not allowing any points until a 4th down conversion resulted in a touchdown for the Eagles during the 3rd quarter. After a week 1 shootout, the defense really stepped up in a big way during week 2 and took a lot of the pressure off the offense.
And kind of the similar feeling that Piscataway has had this season as well, which we'll mention a little bit later on. They've had 2 similar type of games that the Knights have had this season. But always taking that pressure off of the offense is very good, you know, taking a lot off of Brody Nugent, because we saw what happened in week 1. They fell down behind 15 in the 4th quarter. It forced the offense to go down the field very quickly and have to try to score as quickly as possible to save themselves some time. And last week, they didn't have to do it as often and were able to control the ball at their pace that they wanted to do so, and they were able to get into the end zone when needed be. So a good job by the Knights, you know, in that game and making sure that they could get the win and taking that pressure off of the offense. So a solid defensive performance from Old Bridge in that one.
Shifting our focus back to the Knights offense here, something that we've seen in each of the first 2 games is the ability of this team to strike for big plays. In week 1, it was the legs of Brody Nugent that provided the majority of the highlight reel moments, but during week 2, it was the speed of these Old Bridge backs and receivers that really shined against Edison.
Yeah, we saw Jeremiah Dixon get a 19-yard rushing touchdown early in that first quarter. Aiden Rios had a 67-yard catch for a touchdown in the 3rd. We saw Jaden Griffin with 2 catches, 87 yards, the big one being that 81-yard touchdown in that 2nd quarter as well. So, you know, we saw in week 1 the legs of Nugent play a factor into that game. Last week, it was all about the big play momentum for the Knights in that victory over Edison. Now they look to carry it over into tonight's game against Piscataway, a team that last week, Joe, we did see give up a lot of points on the defensive side of the ball. So Old Bridge is going to look to take advantage of that.
We'll talk about Piscataway in just a few moments, but we saw last week that Dave got the chance to speak with Jaden Griffith, who you mentioned ahead of the game against Edison, and he had a great deal of praise for the rest of his team's receiving core and his quarterback. Speaking of his quarterback, once again, Brody Nugent, almost 200 yards passing and over 100 yards on the ground. If you're Piscataway tonight, how do you go about trying to slow down the Old Bridge quarterback?
It's tough because we've seen the first 2 games with Nugent and what he's done. Obviously, in game 1, he didn't have 100 rushing yards, but I believe he had 99. So he pretty much had a 100-yard rushing performance with those 4 touchdowns, and obviously still had 100 yards through the air. Last week, I mentioned the 180 yards through the air, the 100 yards on the ground. He did a good job in that game of giving the Knights a balanced offensive style that they were looking for, at least they were trying to hope for, in that first game against Woodbridge. So if you're Piscataway going into this game, it might be easier said than done than saying, let's put a spy on the quarterback with one of our linebackers, make sure that Nugent has to throw the football down the field. But at the same time, how can you really allow that to happen with the big plays that we saw Old Bridge pull off last week? So it's going to be a tough test for Piscataway defensively, trying to figure out what Old Bridge is going to come out here tonight and try to do offensively in the scheme.
And before we get a chance to speak with Knights head coach Matt Donahue and some of his players ahead of tonight's game, let's take a look at their opponent tonight in the Piscataway High School Chiefs. As I mentioned earlier, this Piscataway Township team is also 1-1, and they've played 2 games this year that have looked very different from one another. In Week 1, they faced Manalapan in a highly defensive game, which they won 21-11. In Week 2, they were involved in a shootout where they fell by 4 points in a 52-48 defeat.
Yeah, and look at that game from last week, the 52-48 loss, which still on paper is an unbelievable game to say the least. But we saw Piscataway take advantage with 3 kickoff return for touchdowns, which you don't see very often, Joe, let alone 1, maybe even 2. You don't really see that very often in any type of football game, whether it be for the professional, collegiate, or high school level. And then in that Week 1 matchup as well, we saw a good defensive showing from Piscataway in that one. So this is where I mentioned earlier where these 2 teams have had kind of the similar type of game so far this season. Game 1 for each team was game 1 for Piscataway, was a defensive showdown for them. Week 1 for Old Bridge was a shootout for them. Week 2, Old Bridge had the defensive showing, Piscataway had the shootout. So we could be in store for anything realistically here tonight in this matchup between these 2 teams.
And I think that unpredictability certainly will lend itself to the excitement here this evening. But taking a look at the Week 1 box score in the Chiefs' win over Manalapan, you'll see that the yardage totals favored Manalapan in that game. However, the deciding factor was a pair of interceptions from this Chiefs defense and a fumble recovery in the end zone, as that helped them overcome, allowing over 200 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I think if you're Piscataway, even though they allowed that many yards through the ground, to get away with that game defensively and only allowing just 11 points, that's something that they're definitely taking, not to take for granted. They're very happy that they were able to come out with the win. But that's definitely a concern going into this game tonight because we know the running ability of this Old Bridge team, whether it be from Nugent or from any of their running backs. So for Piscataway, yes, they're happy that they got the win in the defensive matter that they did, forcing those turnovers, but they have to be a little bit worrisome of how to stop this running attack of the Knights in this one.
And this is something you touched on, Nick, but looking at the second game of the season for Piscataway, they once again managed to put points on the board without ever possessing the football on offense. You said it, 3 kickoff returns helped them erase a 13-point deficit to win by 4. It is not often you get that kind of production on special teams, so that dynamic return game is something the Knights will need to be aware of tonight.
Yeah, and I think for Old Bridge, obviously, you don't want to give up those many kickoff returns in that matchup. But if you also look at what Bridgewater Raritan did in that matchup, Joe, Piscataway allowed 240 total rushing yards in that game, 375 total throughout the entire game. So that's definitely a concern because even with the 3 kickoffs, that we talked about the pressure, taking off the pressure on your offense when we talked about Old Bridge and their game against Woodbridge. But for that game for Piscataway last week, they were not able to do that for their offense. And we saw that the special teams was the reason why they got a lot of points on the board. But at the same time, they need to still take that pressure off the offense and make sure that they don't have to score a potential 2 or 3 touchdowns in the special teams unit. So we'll have to see what Piscataway does here tonight defensively, trying to avoid another high-scoring matchup.
We've spoken about what the Knights may need to be on the lookout for against this Piscataway team tonight. But coming up next, we'll get to hear it straight from their head coach and a couple of the Knights players. I'm joined by Matt Donahue and more of the Knights coming up after this break.
You know, we limited the mistakes that we made the previous week, and we just keep saying we got to get better each week and limit the mistakes. And if we do that, you know, we have a good offense, a good defense, and we could, we play with the best of them.
Last season got off to a tough start. You get in the win column nice and early this year. How good does it feel to get that first one out of the way in front of your home fans?
It feels great. It feels great. You know, we're still early in the season. We want to get better each week and try to win the next game. And now we want to get to 1-0 in the week.
Week 2 went well. You want week 3 to go better, obviously. How do you make that happen tonight?
Got to play disciplined football, stop the big play, make them line up again on defense, and we got to just move the chains, keep the ball in our hands.
All right, Coach, thanks very much for your time. And we look forward to speaking to some of your players later in the pregame show. Nick, back to you.
Thank you, Joe, as Coach Donahue looking for a 2-1 start to the season with a victory tonight over the Chiefs. But Joe is not done on field level. He's now joined by the Knights' number 42, Tommy Kasoff.
The Old Bridge Knights defense. Thomas, huge effort for the defense last week. Didn't allow any points to the second half. What made that possible?
Just to work together. We've been working all off season. It's getting better every day.
A lot of big plays on both sides of the ball last week. For you on defense, how do you look to contribute defensively as a part of that defensive front and the linebacking core?
I'm just going to keep making my tackles, and my team's going to help me up. We're going to keep doing it together.
Week 1, tough loss. Week 2, big win. How do you look to make week 3 another W?
Oh, it's going to happen. I know it. It's going to get better every day.
A lot of confidence. We love to see it. Thomas, thank you so much for your time. Nick, back up to you.
Thank you, Joe. Tommy Kasoff and his team looking for another strong defensive performance after their win last week over Edison. But Joe is got one more interview on the field with another defensive player of the Knights, number 3, Michael Kavas.
Michael, last week, big win for your team. What did you take away from that big W last week?
I think we worked hard during the week, and that hard work paid off to get our first win of the season.
A lot of big plays last week, both on the offensive and defensive side. How do you look to contribute to that each week?
I just think we need to keep working and push to our limits, and I think we'll get that dub.
3 straight home games to open the season. How much of a joy is it to play in front of this home crowd, and how much of a factor is that week in and week out?
I think our student section makes a lot of noise, and they make a big impact on our game and how we play.
All right, Michael, thank you for your time. Pleasure to have you on. Nick, back up to you.
Thank you once again, Joe, as Michael and Tommy of the defensive side of the unit looking to give Old Bridge a 2-1 start, but Piscataway will look to make sure that they also go to a 2-1 start in this game. But as Joe makes his way back to the commentary booth, what we will do is step aside for a quick commercial break as we get you one step closer to kickoff between the Chiefs and the Knights right here on the PDF Sports Network.
Getting a home loan shouldn't feel like an obstacle course. At CMG Home Loans, getting a loan is simple. Our loan officers are here for you every step of the way. With over 2,000 5-star reviews, when you're ready to buy or refi, we'll work together to find the loan you need for the home you love. CMG Home Loans. Simplified, trusted, committed.
When it comes to buying and selling a home, do it with Peter Hunt's Home Team, powered by Century 21. For years, Peter has dedicated his life to the real estate industry, offering help and care to all of his clients. With experience and proven results, Peter is an award-winning realtor and the top producer for Century 21 Action Plus. A resident of Old Bridge, put Peter to work at selling your home or finding the home of your dreams. Call 1-800-299-2129 or reach Peter directly at 9086-014-934.
Old Bridge Football is sponsored by Lettering.com. Order vinyl lettering with unmatched production efficiency. With one-day turnaround and free shipping, we are unmatched when it comes to signage, boat lettering, mailboxes, window lettering, and of course, helmets and sports apparel. Free shipping always, and the best prices around. It's Lettering.com for all of your lettering needs.
And we are back from Lombardi Field, just ahead of kickoff for tonight's game between Piscataway Township High School and the Old Bridge High School Knights. Once again, this is Old Bridge Knights football, exclusively on the PDF Sports Network. My name is Joe Foreman, alongside my broadcast partner tonight, Nicholas Bavona. And Nick, I just returned from field level, got a chance to talk with Coach Donahue as well as a couple of his players, and I think some of the takeaways that obviously they are looking to build upon what they did last week and to do even better tonight, but they are certainly going to feed off the energy from this home crowd. It is holiday season in September here at Lombardi Field.
Very, very festive.
A lot of purple Santa hats. We had the Grinch on the sideline. I wanted to try and catch up with him and let him know how it's going, since his heart was melted by the citizens of Whoville, but that happened many years ago now.
Today.
Yeah, we are melting up here in the box. It is certainly a warm, warm night. The sun shining brightly directly into our faces right now. Fortunately for the players, the sun will set behind the benches and not behind the end zone. So there will be no distinct disadvantage for either offense when they take the field in just a few moments. And Nick, it looks like the Knights are going to get the football first once again. We saw it last week. They took the football and they scored. We did not see who won the coin toss and what selection they made, though we do know Old Bridge will be receiving the opening kickoff.
Yeah, Old Bridge now with their, where we're seeing good high-powered offense and the balanced style of offense they've been doing. We'll look to get things started in this game and try to get the first points of this game on the board after this opening kickoff. But we saw Piscataway return 3 touchdowns for a kickoff in their last game, Joe. Who knows what's going to happen on this opening kickoff right here for Old Bridge?
Well, you said it, Nick. We don't know what to expect tonight, and that is part of the intrigue surrounding this game. As Xavier Diaz receives the opening kickoff, stumbles a bit, but he's out across the 25 and tackled at the 30-yard line, which is where the Knights will start on their first possession of the game, led by quarterback Brody Nugent.
Yeah, Brody Nugent, I mentioned earlier on, has the first 2 games has at least averaged over 100 passing yards and almost has averaged about 100 rushing yards as well per game, to finish with 99 in that game against Woodbridge. So pretty much it is a quintessential 100-yard rushing game from him in that one. I mentioned the 4 rushing touchdowns he had. And last week, 3 passing touchdowns. I mentioned the 2 long passing touchdowns he had, as well as a rushing touchdown through the ground. So let's see how Piscataway sets up in this first play, Joe. I mentioned maybe they go out with a quarterback spy and the linebacker position to try to prevent Nugent from running as often, but it will be a tough task to fall on this Knights offense.
Trips to the right of Nugent, who is lined up in the pistol. Behind him in the backfield, Jeremiah Dixon to get things started in this game. Once again, the first snap coming from the Old Bridge 30, and a flag flies from the near side, as it looks like we're going to have an early offsides flag.
An early neutral zone infraction on Piscataway right there. So now would you want to start this game if you were Piscataway, giving up an early 5 yards and now making this a 1st and 5 coming out for Old Bridge?
Chance of you can't do that from the Knights faithful.
Well, you certainly don't want to do that, that's for sure.
They boast what they believe is the best fan section in all of high school football. And Nick, we're very proud to see that we're going to get a chance to find out if that's true as we continue to follow the Knights on the road this season. That'll be a lot of fun as Dixon takes the handoff up the middle, and he picks up about 5, and that should be good for a first down.
Well, correction, Joe. Remember, they got the 5 yards, so no gain on that play. So it should be 2nd and 5 coming up the first down.
I was looking at
the 42-yard line.
I was looking at where the referee was. That was at the line of scrimmage. I didn't think he got 5 on that one.
They got 5 on the neutral zone. That was Riley Wingate on the defensive line for the Chiefs right there that made the good stop, getting Dixon in the backfield.
I was about to say, that was a pretty easy 5 for a run that looked like it got stood up. Once again, trips to the right in the pistol.
The sun is not helping us whatsoever, but we're going to try to or I want to say we're hoping for the nightfall to happen. But
we are hoping for nightfall.
We definitely could use it right now.
Very, very swiftly. Nugent moves into the shotgun, and he will take off and run. And maybe he got a yard on that one, as that will set up a 3rd down and about 4.
And I think that was Joshua Stevens, the linebacker, that got back there. And you saw right there, Joe, a little bit of a quarterback draw for Nugent on that play. We saw a bunch of that so far in the first 2 games for the Knights here. But now with 3rd, and it looks to be still about 5, maybe 4 yards. Let's see if the Knights go to the air in this on this play and try to get that 1st down. They also could be trying to draw them offside to try to get the automatic 1st with the 5 yards.
That is certainly on the table. Once again, the Knights were lined up in a pistol set, but Nugent will now drop into the shotgun. 4 receivers wide. Nugent looking to his right now, looks middle, takes off as he steps up, rolling left, and that throw is behind his intended target, Jaden Griffith, and that will bring up 4th down.
And that's a good start for Piscataway right there, Joe. They gave up the first 5 yards on this drive on a neutral zone to start the drive, and they were able to get 2 good stops on the ground, and that forced Nugent to throw that football right there. It looked like maybe for a second he was going to roll out of the pocket and scramble for the 1st down, but he made the decision to try to throw it to Griffith, but just fell short of the 1st down marker, and Piscataway forces an early 3 and out.
And I think you're put in a really tough position defensively if Nugent steps up through that pocket.
Didn't want to interrupt you. There is a flag on the field. I think it's a sideline warning. There's a sideline warning on the Chiefs. Do you see that very often sometimes in high school games?
Sometimes the players in the bench area and the coaches can get a bit overzealous. As Nugent looks to throw, it's a fake punt, and it is complete. Aiden Rios on the reception, and the fake punt is converted for a big gain, as this one will put the Knights in Chiefs territory.
Well, that's the danger you face when you're facing the quarterback in the opportunity right there when he's the punter. Because sometimes in high school football, the quarterback is the punter. And right there you saw it. Took the snap. It looked like originally maybe he was going to punt, but he found Rios for the reception, and he gets them all the way to the Chiefs' 41-yard line. So a great conversion, and what we thought was going to be an original 3-and-out stop for Piscataway now turns into an opportunity for Old Bridge to put the first points of this game on the board.
And I was about to say before the sideline warning that when Nugent steps up through the pocket and then begins to roll toward the sideline, that puts you in a tough spot. You expect him to take off and run. When he pulls the ball back and then looks to throw rolling to his left as a defense, if you chase him too aggressively, there's openings there for completions. As Dixon will take the 1st down handoff, he is tackled at the Chiefs' 38-yard line, a gain of about 3 on the carry.
I mentioned Dixon had 10 for 53 in the win last week over Edison, so averaged about 5 yards a carry in that game. Gets 3 on that 1st down play right there and makes it now 2nd and 7.
Once again, Nugent in the shotgun, now looks toward the bench area. Trips to the right, 1 receiver wide left. Dixon flanks him in the backfield as they throw the screen pass. This is Griffith, and he won't gain anything. May not have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. It was awfully close. They spot him at the 38, no gain, and it will be 3rd down.
Good read right there by the Chiefs defense on that one, Joe. The wide receiver screen, they did not let Griffin get any room to run. I think about 4 or 5 defenders were in the vicinity where Griffin caught that pass. And now sets up a very long 3rd and 7.
Knights got to the line pretty quickly, and perhaps a bit too quickly, as they are going to be flagged for a false start. And that will back them up 5, and that's big here in this area of the field. You're in that territory, Nick, where if they picked up a couple of yards without gaining a 1st down, they may have considered going for it. Now I think you would need a bit more for that to be a factor.
I think you would have to get around maybe 5 or 6 yards if you don't get the 1st down this play to set up a 4th and 4, maybe a 4th and 5, where you could also try to draw the defense offside again and try to get the 1st down on a penalty.
Empty backfield, Griffith in motion. They fake the handoff on the sweep. Nugent has running room, and he may be just short.
He's going to be marked around the 30, it looks like 33-yard line. He is about 2 yards short of the 1st down right there, Joe.
And I don't think there's much question. The Knights will be going for this. And once again, Nick, they hurry to the line.
Yeah, maybe expect another QB draw right here for Nugent, unless it's going to be a screen. So check once again towards the sideline.
Well, they faked the handoff to Griffith on the sweep, and I think that really took the defense by surprise. And here comes Griffith again. They'll fake it to him. Nugent runs for it, and I think he has just enough.
Need to get to the 31-yard line, and he's marked down at the 30. That's good enough for another Knight first. And you saw right there, Joe, they went with the jet sweep, putting him, Dixon, in motion, and they faked the handoff on that jet sweep. And Nugent once again took it up the middle of the field, lowered the shoulder to get the first down.
The Knights hurry to the line. Fake handoff out of the pistol. Nugent rolling right completes the pass. And that is a short completion to Cam Olivencia.
Olivencia had a touchdown in last week's contest as well in the game against Edison. I believe the first touchdown of that game for the Knights. Gets a nice reception there. It looks like it's going to be about 2nd and 6 coming up.
Officially a gain of 4 on the play. Once again, 3 receivers to the left as Nugent works out of the pistol. Olivencia lined up one-on-one on the right. As Nugent now drops into the shotgun, flanked by Dixon. He will look to run. Nice move to make one man miss, and he's taken down by a pair of tacklers just inside the 25. Once again, Nick, that will bring up a 3rd down for this Knights offense. Obviously, they did not convert on either of their first 2 third downs. They had the fake punt and then the 4th down run from Nugent on the fake handoff via the jet sweep.
Yeah, and you got 3rd and about, it looks to be 4 yards right here. So obviously, if you're Piscataway, you've seen Nugent run a bunch already on this drive. They got to be very worried about him running out and trying to make a play with his legs.
The Chiefs showing strict man coverage right now. We'll see if that changes with the snap. But man coverage makes it a lot tougher to handle the quarterback running, as once again, it's going to be a false start against Old Bridge. Now, the offensive line petitioning that one of the defenders caused the early movement. Noah Balabueno was pointing the way of one of the Chiefs' linebackers. I think that was number 44 he was pointing at. That's Horace Thompson.
And that changes now your scheme of things going into this play, Joe. 3rd and 4, you try to think about maybe running the football, maybe try to draw them offside for that penalty to get the first down. But now on 3rd and 9, now you have to think about, do you go through the air to try to get this conversion, or do they do what they've done already on this drive, make it about 4th and about maybe around 3 or 2 yards to set up a more manageable 4th down conversion?
I think if they get anywhere close, set up for a 4th down, they would go for it. But the Knights, of course, hope to convert right here and make that a moot point.
Another flag.
And it's against the Knights.
Another
false start. Well, it's been a sloppy start for the Knights. The game opened up with a penalty against the Chiefs, and the Knights didn't go anywhere between the next 3 plays. Were forced into a punt formation. They did not punt it. Nugent completed a 1st down pass on the punt fake, but we've seen 2 flags against them since.
And I feel like it's like kind of irony to what happened in the NFL. You're a purple team taking on the Chiefs, and a lot of penalties prolonging the first drive of the game.
Perhaps some deja vu from the first Thursday night game of the season. Empty shotgun look. Nugent looks right, airs it out, looking for Griffith. End zone, incomplete. That ball off target.
Yeah,
and that will bring up 4th down.
It looked like maybe Nugent was looking for Griffith to do an inside post and try to get into the end zone. But on that one, we saw Griffith on the sideline trying to get it on a potential slot fade right there. But at the same time, a big break for the Knights on that one, Joe, because Jahai Johnson, if he was able to get to the football, would have had an easy interception.
So once again, the Knights will line up to go for it on 4th down. This will be officially their 3rd 4th down attempt of this drive, one coming on the fake punt. It's 4th and about 14. 5 receivers wide. Nugent looks to throw. He's under pressure. Steps through the pocket. Throws middle. He may have been across the line of scrimmage, Nick. But if not, that is good for a first down. We will see.
The line of scrimmage was at the 30-yard line, so we would have to see exactly where they marked him and what the penalty is going to be.
I thought they got him for an illegal forward pass. The replay might help. We'll get a look at it in just a moment.
Didn't look like initially he went over the line, but it's close to call. Remember, folks, and they're picking up the flag, Joe. It's a first down for the Knights.
Let's see if they were right to do so, and I think they were, because you have to remember, if any part of the quarterback's body is behind the line of scrimmage, that is a legal forward pass, and I think his foot.
He was 4 yards behind where the line of scrimmage was. The line of scrimmage was the 30-yard line.
He was 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage?
The line of scrimmage was the 30.
I find it hard to believe they would make an error on a flag when he was 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
At least where I saw on the field, that's what the line marker was down. It was
I thought it was close. I didn't think he was 4 yards, but perhaps he was. As
he threw that ball to 34.
They'll hand off up the middle. Tyler, let's get one more look at that replay quickly.
Tackle on that last play.
The important part is where the snap was. They snapped it at the 35. And he threw it right at the 35.
Yeah.
As Nugent will roll left here, he takes off running and is brought down inside the 10-yard line. Third down and 1 for the Knights. As they methodically march up the field, they have taken over 7 minutes off the clock in this opening quarter.
And they go with looks like maybe a QB sneak on the play. And I don't know if they got it, Joe.
Well, Old Bridge has hurried to the line several times in this game. It has not worked out well for the most part. We've seen a pair of flags, and now on that particular play, they come up, looks to be a yard short of the first down.
There hasn't been a notion as to if it's fourth down or short or if it's a first down and goal. I think they're going to measure it, Joe.
The sticks still read third down.
They're going to bring the chains out and measure it to see if it's a first down or not. The ball right now looks like it's spotted at around the 7-yard line, I believe. So that's about where the first down marker is.
It is so close that I don't think there's any way we could tell without an official measurement by the chain gang.
If you remember a couple years ago in the NFL where they had that postcard where it determined a first down or not, they might need a postcard on this upcoming measurement to see if it's a first. Let's see if we can see it from up here.
Our hero camera should be getting a good look at it.
It's really tough to call, Joe. I think they gave him the first down. And I think by just a smidge of the football. And I mentioned it in our other contest that we called earlier today. Sometimes these games are a game of inches, and right there is certainly the case. Game of inches leads to a first down for the Knights. They now have first and goal coming up.
So by the nose of the football, Old Bridge picks up a first down on the quarterback sneak. And now it's goal to go with the ball spotted just inside of the 7-yard line. The clock continues to tick down toward 4 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Once again, Nugent looks to the bench. We've seen that quite a bit. The Knights have lined up, and then if Nugent sees something in the defense, he looks over toward the bench, and he will keep it on the quarterback run and maybe picked up 2 yards as he's tackled right at the 5-yard line.
That was Jahai Johnson coming back from his safety position, making the tackle on that play. Looks like Nugent maybe got 2 yards on that one to make it second and goal from the 5-yard line. See, maybe if they go right back to a potential read option style of play, maybe they go to Dixon on this one. See, once again, checks towards his sideline.
Once again, Nugent looks toward the bench ahead of this second and goal snap. He will fake the handoff and roll to his right. He's under pressure, rolls back left, throws end zone, and that is caught. Cam Olivencia, right along the back line, makes a sliding grab, and the Knights are on the board with the game's first touchdown.
And the confetti is flying, Joe, from the student section with that touchdown pass. And how about Nugent on that play, Joe? going to his right, looking for somewhere to go, then fakes the throw, goes towards his left, and then finds Olivencia in the back of the end zone. And how about that catch by Olivencia? Not only making the catch, but the wherewithal to know where he was in the end zone to make sure he could bring that one down and keep himself in bounds to put an early 6 on the board for the Knights.
Here we get a second look at that play as the extra point will be attempted here. And it is good to make it a 7-point game. So Old Bridge goes in front, 7-0. And for the second straight week, they get the ball first and score the game's first points.
And once again, it was Olivencia getting the first points as well.
It was a long journey on that opening drive for Old Bridge. We saw multiple fourth down conversions, some penalties that set them back. But through it all, the Knights persevere and find the end zone for the game's first score. We'll see how the Chiefs respond.
The Knights get an early Christmas present right there, Joe, with that touchdown.
Well, it is holiday season in September here in Old Bridge.
Very weird to say that.
A lot of purple Santa hats. We have some Grinch pajamas. We had the Grinch on the sideline pregame.
They had some snow as well. But speaking about that drive as well, you notice how much time was left in the first quarter. Piscataway is going to get the ball for the first time in this game with 3:18 to go in the quarter. So that was a methodical drive that we just saw from Old Bridge on that one. A lot of penalties, sure, definitely did go against them on that drive, but they were able to persevere and make sure that they could still get some first downs on that drive. You know, we had the fake punt, a couple of fourth down conversions, and including that 3rd and 16 play as well. And they now have an early 7-0 lead in this game against the Chiefs.
Kickoff on its way, and it's a short one. A lot of pressure on the kick return team in that spot, but it was handled cleanly by James Bodley.
And, Joe, I don't think I'm surprised that they did that. After what Piscataway did their last game with 3 kickoff returns, I don't think they want to give Jai Johnson, who had all 3 kickoffs, for a touchdown. I don't think they want to give him any chance to run this one back potentially. So they kick it short, and I believe it was James Bodley that was the one that got the short kick and ruled down at around the 36 mark. So that's where Piscataway is going to pick up their first drive of the game.
So the Chiefs offense takes the field for the first time tonight. They line up in an I formation, 2 receivers wide to the left, and they will hand off to their big fullback.
And he's not going down, Joe.
That is a big, big man, and I believe that's one of the defensive linemen that I pointed out on the last drive, and it indeed was number 44, Horace Thompson, 5'11", 256-pound senior. That is a big man.
And that's kind of a secret weapon that you have sometimes. You know, we saw another point you bring up in the NFL I'm going to bring up. You know, we saw the Bears back in the 80s use William Refrigerator Perry, the defensive lineman, in a running back style play and use him as a fullback to get some touchdowns. But you saw right there for Thompson, he got about 5 yards on that first down play.
2nd and 5, handoff goes to the back, Bodley, and he is met by 4 Knights, somehow managed to get back to the line of scrimmage. That easily could have gone for a loss of 4 or 5. Instead, there is officially no gain on the play.
Yeah, I'm surprised he stayed up after the initial point of contact and was able to get back, as you mentioned, to the initial line of scrimmage.
They gave him a yard, Nick.
That's even more surprising, I thought. So, good heads-up running right there by Bodley, and makes it about 3rd and, I would say, about 4 yards, maybe 5 on this upcoming conversion attempt for the Chiefs right here.
Another 3rd down. We've seen plenty of those in this first quarter.
Wonder if they would maybe go back to Thompson on this play.
Strong I formation, 2 receivers wide right, play fake. Throw to the right sideline is complete. That's good for a first down and more. Jahai Johnson on the reception, and that is good for a Chiefs first down.
Well, they didn't want to kick it off to him on the ensuing kickoff after the touchdown, but Johnson gets himself involved early in this game for the Chiefs offense with that third down conversion right there. And you saw it right there, Joe, in the Knights defense. They were fully expecting a run on that play. It kind of looks like they maybe went with a little bit of a blitz into the inside. And a good job right there by Pernell to throw it to the outside and find Johnson for the first.
Well, now, as good a time as any to highlight the Chiefs quarterback, Landon Pernell.
And they got 5 yards on that first play. Neutral zone infraction up on the Knights defense, so now going to be 1st and 5 coming up.
And speaking of that third down play in Pernell's role, he's obviously the man who makes that throw, but a very important part of getting your receiver that wide open is the play fake, and he certainly sold the Knights defense on that handoff, and in doing so, had his man wide open. There was nobody within 5 to 10 yards of the receiver, and Johnson fully capitalized with yardage after the catch. 1st and 5. Handoff. Once again went to Bodley, and he's stacked up after a gain of a yard or 2.
Joe, you want a candy cane? They're throwing it out right in front of us.
I'd honestly love one. I would happily take a candy cane.
Santa's come to town. He's bringing all these candy canes to the student section here at Old Bridge.
We have jingle bells blaring over the speakers right now via the band seated to our right. It will be 2nd down and about 3. So they gave him a gain of 2 on the 1st down run. And here's another handoff. Big gain on this play. That is Jamari Atkinson with the big run. And with that, the Chiefs move deep into Old Bridge territory as this one will be spotted just outside of the 25-yard line.
Yeah, we knew this Chiefs offense show going into this game was going to be a very run-heavy offense. And you saw it right there. Atkinson found a nice hole through the offensive line. Good protection from that run block. And easy 1st down for Atkinson, setting himself up at around, it looks like to be the 27-yard line of Old Bridge.
There's a short completion to the right side. That looks to be a gain of about 6, maybe 7.
About 6-yard. Looks like to be a 5-yard gain. I think they marked him down to 22. I believe that was Jahai Johnson once again on the reception.
Like I said, a short gain.
Yeah.
Credit to the receiver, Johnson, for fighting for some extra yards there.
Just like that, Joe. That's the end of the first quarter.
A first quarter that saw Old Bridge possess the ball for well over 7 minutes comes to a close with the Knights leading 7-0. The Chiefs are driving when we come back. They continue this drive from inside the Old Bridge 20-yard line.
Getting a home loan shouldn't feel like an obstacle course. At CMG Home Loans, getting a loan is simple. Our loan officers are here for you every step of the way. With over 2,000 5-star reviews, when you're ready to buy or refi, we'll work together to find.
And we are back from Lombardi Field after a very short break between quarters. 2nd down handoff goes for no gain. And that will bring up 3rd down and about 6.
You mentioned, Joe, that first drive for Old Bridge. Almost 9 minutes of clock that they took off the first quarter with that first possession. So Piscataway had the remaining 3 minutes, and now first play that you mentioned didn't really get them much on 2nd down. Now you got 3rd and about, it looks to be, I would say, 5 yards, maybe they're halfway towards that 1st down marker. The 1st down marker right now at around the 17-yard line, it looks like.
We'll see if this is 4 down territory. Down 7, perhaps. Spread shotgun set, and the handoff is taken by Bodley, and he is bottled up short of a first down. Well short, as Bodley picks up just one, and I think with that play call, you're probably planning to go for it on fourth.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the two players that made the tackle, Joe, were the two players that you interviewed before our game today. That was Kavas and Kasoff on the tackle, I believe.
Well, I mentioned during the pregame that we can't overlook the effort of this Knights defense last week. Did not allow a point until the second half, and it came on a 4th down and long conversion in the red zone. The ball spotted just outside of the 20-yard line here on 4th down. Chiefs look to throw for it. They throw end zone, and that is incomplete by about a yard or two. Overshooting his target was Purnell. I believe the intended receiver,
I think that was Bodley again.
Was either Bodley or Solomon Ely. It was tough to tell if that was a 5 or a 3 in the end zone. I think that was number 5, Ely.
Yeah.
And he was there. He was open on the seam route. It took a great throw to connect with him, and that was just a good throw, not great. They needed great on that play, and the Chiefs turn it over on downs.
Yeah, that's a tough break right there for Piscataway, turning that one over on downs. A good drive they had in that one, trying to get down the field and tying this game up at 7. But credit to the Old Bridge defense once again, Joe. They were not fooled on that 3rd down run, able to force it to be 4th and about 5 and forcing the incompletion. And now after a almost 9-minute first quarter drive, they're back out here on offense here in the second.
They will motion Dixon into the backfield. 4 receivers wide for the Knights, who lead at 7-0. Following what is an errant snap. It's a foot race to the football. And the Chiefs have it in the end zone. Touchdown, Piscataway.
Riley Wingate again, Joe, getting involved.
Wingate with the recovery in the end zone. We'll get a look at what happened.
Yeah, Nugent and company were not ready for the snap. It looks like there was a mistiming of that snap right there from the Knights. And that miscommunication proves costly right there for Old Bridge. So after Piscataway doesn't score and goes 4 and out to end their drive, one play later they get a touchdown on the defensive side of the ball and now are an extra point away from tying this game at 7.
What a turn of events early in this second quarter. The Knights went straight downfield and scored. They got a stop on 4th down, and then an errant snap straight past the quarterback and through to the end zone is recovered by Riley Wingate for a Piscataway touchdown. And Nick, the Knights did put 7 on the board on their opening drive. It was a bit sloppy, and unfortunately for Old Bridge, the miscues continue on drive number 2.
Yeah, and for Old Bridge, you really can't afford that to happen, obviously. I know it goes without saying, but when you're up 7-0, you could take advantage early in this game, go up 2 possessions. But having those issues in the communication style with your center and your quarterback is something you can ill afford as this game goes along. And that's right now a very costly play for Old Bridge, not in this game up at 7. And we know the implications as well, Joe. Obviously, these two teams are both 1-1. They would like to be over 500 going into their Week 4 contest next week.
No question about that. And we said it during the pregame, Nick. This Piscataway team has had a knack for scoring without possessing the football. Once again, it's a touchdown on defense. They had a fumble recovery for a touchdown a couple of weeks ago. They had the 3 kick returns last week, and now another fumble recovery in the end zone ties the score. On the return, Zamir Evans is brought down shy of the 30, and that is where the Knights will start drive number 3.
Yeah, I'm curious if they go under center maybe this time around, Joe, to start, or at least start this drive. You know, Old Bridge's offense is very consistent on going into that shotgun formation, but after having a mishap like that and leading to a touchdown after a botched snap, maybe they go under center here and try to force something here on the offensive side, maybe a first down run for Dixon to start this their 3rd drive of this game.
Well, our producer says to perhaps go back and look at the fumble where the Chiefs offsides on the play. So slow it down, Tyler, back it up, pre-snap, and we'll get a look ahead of this first down snap, hopefully. Right now the referee is holding play up, so we have a perfect window to get a look if we can do it quickly.
Might have to wait, let's say. They did. He's right. They jumped off. No call on the play. That's why the Knights were not moving towards the football.
Good eye by our producer, Dave Pizzuto, to catch that one. I was following the body language of Nugent after a short gain there on first down. I think they gave him about 1 on the play, but going back to the errant snap, my eyes have been following the quarterback because Nugent has often been looking to the bench for an alternate play call ahead of different snaps throughout the game, and the ball sailed by him, so I didn't see what happened on the defensive line. That's a good eye by Dave. Always having our backs.
And I think that was Wingate, now that I think about it. I think he was the one that jumped off.
It's hard to believe they missed that, Nick.
Yeah, Wingate's on that left side of the field from our vantage point, so that was Wingate that jumped off. No
Nugent will look to
field.
run here on second down. And he is taken down across the Old Bridge 35 at the 36-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and 3.
Nugent's such a physical player here, Joe. You know, you don't see quarterbacks very often lowering their shoulder and trying to fight for extra yardage, and he did it right there. Makes it 3rd and about 3, maybe 4 yards upcoming for the Knights.
Another 3rd down for Old Bridge. On the opening drive, I don't believe they converted 1.
Don't think they did either.
Nugent will keep it.
They didn't convert it right there either.
They won't convert there either. Now, they may have had a 3rd down conversion to get them in the goal-to-go situation. I think that may have been a 3rd down, but leading up to that, they certainly did not have any 3rd down conversions.
I think that 3rd and 16 play where we had the initial thought maybe it was an illegal forward pass. That was the 3rd down conversion they had in that first drive.
That was 3rd down?
That was 3rd down.
Then they may have had 2.
At least I think it was 3rd down.
They're lined up to go for it here on 4th. I think it was 4th down, Nick. I think it was 4th and 14.
And they got him to jump. And if you're Piscataway, Joe, you got to know that that's what Old Bridge was going for on that play. You cannot afford to give up a neutral zone on that possession.
Now, Nick, do you think that Old Bridge was actually going to go for it right there?
I think they were going heavy count to begin with. I think worst case scenario, they call a timeout and then reconsider it on the sideline. But I don't think whatsoever they were going to initially snap that football up until that neutral zone happened.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't think they were going to go for it. But it doesn't matter as they get the defense to jump off sides and pick up a free 5. And with it, a big first down to keep this drive going. We are already inside of 8 minutes to go until halftime as Nugent will pitch it on the option. And that might be just short of a first down as our view is heavily obstructed by the coach's tent behind the Old Bridge bench.
Looks like they ruled them out at midfield, maybe a yard shy of midfield.
Pushed out at the 50.
Speed option play now sets up 2nd and manageable 5 yards here for Old Bridge.
Empty shotgun look for Nugent and the Knights offense. He will look to throw, fires left and nearly intercepted. That should have been 6 the other way, Nick, and it was off the hands of Kobe Bell.
Yeah, that was 6 for number 6 right there.
Yeah, no question.
For Piscataway, and he's going to be kicking himself, especially depending on how the rest of this drive goes. That's one you would certainly love to have back if you're Piscataway right there.
That one stings if you're the Chiefs, but I highlighted it during the pregame. Going back to week 1 again, it was the defense for Piscataway that helped lead them to victory. They were outgained in terms of total offense. The defense forcing big turnovers helped them come away with a win. Now Nugent will look to run on 3rd down, and he is going to be short of the first once again as he picks up just 1. It's going to be 4th down and 3 from midfield.
Nathan Waldorf, the defensive tackle, made the stop right there. I think Nugent maybe got a yard at best on that quarterback keeper. And we'll have to see now, Joe, what they do. We already saw a fake punt earlier in this game. Do they maybe... It doesn't look like they're going to punt.
It's punt personnel, Nick.
Okay.
It's punt personnel. That does not mean they are punting.
Right. They do have Johnson setting up as a punt returner in case, but let's see what Nugent does. He's going to throw it again.
Nugent had an option there, and that hit one of the Chiefs. It's a foot race to the football once again, and the Knights have it.
Late flag on the field as well, Joe.
Griffin Nugent on the recovery, pending the late flag.
Another flag was thrown also, maybe excessive celebration, not sure exactly what the first flag is for. But you sometimes see those punts where the quarterback will start running. If he finds something open, he'll throw it. And if not, he just boots it away. We've seen it a couple of times as well in the NFL. But let's see what the call on the field is.
The Knights are being ushered back to their sideline as we get a look at the officials here.
I want to say the first I think I know what happened, Joe. I think what they call on the field, so the call on the field stands. It is Knights football. I want to say it maybe. I thought maybe originally it was going to be a sideline warning on the play, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, that was an interesting. I'm not sure what exactly they call on the field. It looked like the officials were telling Old Bridge to fall back on their sideline. We saw that earlier from Piscataway getting a sideline warning. So maybe that's what the call was on the flag, but that didn't look like initially what the first flag was thrown for.
Nugent will keep it here, and he has running room. He's still on his feet and tackled inside the 5.
Got it all the way down to, it looks like, the 2-yard line, and it's going to be a 1st and goal from that 2-yard line coming up.
And Nick on 4th down once again. Somehow, Old Bridge found a way to stay on the field.
And what did I say earlier, Joe? Game of inches. Sometimes that happens. And, a game of inches falling into the unfortunate mistake for Piscataway, where the ball just tips off of one of the players' legs, it looks like, leading to that turnover. And now, 1st and goal. Let's see if the Knights can punch it in for the go-ahead score.
And Nugent will keep it, and Nugent will score. Brody Nugent takes it 2 yards for a Knights touchdown. And following the punt that deflected off of a Chiefs player, recovered by the Knights, Old Bridge cashes in once again.
Obviously in that spot, Joe, that's a tough break for Piscataway. Not wanting to give up that turnover that happened on the punt. And then Nugent with back-to-back strong runs, great blocking from his offensive line. Now a 13-7 lead for Old Bridge with the extra point pending.
And the extra point is good. Well, I said 14-0, Nick. It is 14-7.
I remember that missed call, unfortunately, for the Knights earlier on. But nonetheless, Joe, despite that missed call, they have regained that touchdown lead that they had earlier. And now will look to keep a good, strong defensive style that they've had already in this game. They were able to force their last defensive timeout here, a 4-and-out inside back to their own territory. Now they look to get a stop here and try to build up on their current 7-point lead.
So Old Bridge bounces back quickly from the fumble recovery in the end zone by the Chiefs. On 4th down, they manage to come away with the football yet again. 3 4th down conversions on the opening drive. And then with that fake punt attempt, Nugent electing to send it away in the flat, punted it straight off of a defender and into the arms of one of his teammates.
Get ready for this upcoming kickoff as well. We saw the Knights last time kick it short and almost maybe get a recovery. Expect to see it once again here on this ensuing kickoff.
Kickoff on his way. It's short again. And that's played on a hop.
Watch
where
out, Joe.
The Chiefs have another one, Nick. Off to the races is number 24, Jamari Atkinson, and nobody will catch him. Incredible.
Wow. I mean, the wherewithal of Atkinson, as soon as he got the ball, he saw the open green down that right sideline, made a quick step and took off. And what a momentum boost right there for the Chiefs. After giving up that touchdown after the mishap on special teams, now their special teams pays a dividend once again, and depending on the extra point, is going to potentially tie this game.
Well, Nick, they're trying to keep the ball away from the return men of Piscataway, and somehow, some way, the Chiefs find a way to score yet again without possessing the football on offense.
Well, that's the danger you have sometimes of kicking it that short, because your defenders are not able to get down the field as quickly as if they kick it deep.
That kick was nearly blocked.
It is good, and this game is tied. But as I mentioned, when you kick it short, as soon as the up man catches the football, he's not going to have many defenders, trying to tackle him. On that side of the field, it looked like maybe there was 3 or 4 defenders in that vicinity trying to make the stop. But when you have a normal kickoff, you're going to have a little bit more opportunity, obviously, to have those plays to make the tackle. But with the way Johnson did last week in returning those 3 kicks, obviously they wanted to avoid it this week. And unfortunately for Old Bridge, it led to a touchdown for Piscataway. And as you mentioned, Jamari Atkinson with that kickoff return touchdown and ties this game up in what has been a very unconventional first half, to say the least.
Well, Nick, our good friends, Louis Matrone and Balloon, are in the live chat tonight.
Luke promised us he was going to be in the live chat.
And
man of his word.
The comeback kid always delivers. The Knights hoping that they can get the same from their offense here, as on special teams, Piscataway has scored. On defense, Piscataway has scored. This ball will skip into the arms of Griffith. Griffith headed for the far sideline, looking to turn upfield, and is forced out of bounds just shy of the Knights' 25-yard line.
Now, although, yes, Joe, the Chiefs did get another touchdown thanks to a very unusual way getting into that special teams unit, but think about this defense coming back out onto the field. They have got to be exhausted here in this first half. That first quarter drive went near 9 minutes. Then you had the defensive touchdown, so they were able to get a quick play right there with the one-play scoop and score, albeit there was a missed call. And then they had to come back out onto the field once again, and then that mishap on the special teams kept them on the field once again. So they have been on the field for the majority of this entire first half.
That's a great point, Nick. This defense has been taxed quite heavily in this first half, but they've proven to be a resilient bunch. First down snap is a fake handoff. Nugent will keep as he races for the sideline and is out of bounds at the 27 for a gain of 4.
It's so tough to always defend that read option play. You're looking to see if it's going to be an inside handoff to the running back, and with the ability of Nugent, how he is, it leads to him easily being able to hold on to the football and get that big-time yardage. So it looks like he got about maybe 4 yards on that play.
Second down and about 7 officially. Gave him a gain of 3 on first down.
Good thing for us, Joe. The sun is starting to go away, so now we can see the field a little bit more clearer.
The sun has set. Fake handoff and a throw into the flat. Nice move there to pick up some extra yardage by Amari Alsbrook. And Alsbrook is down at the 30 with a flag on the field.
Let's see what the call on the field is from the officials here tonight.
The official is looking toward the Chiefs bench, and they've made the decision to back up the offense. So I think they called a legal man downfield. And the Chiefs have elected to accept that penalty. So that will back them up. And it's going to be second and very long here.
It should be 2nd and 12, it looks like, coming up for Old Bridge on this next incoming play.
And it is indeed a 2nd and 12. Well, the defense getting a nice breather here between plays. And to your point once again, Nick, that is certainly something they could use right now. It is a cool, brisk night with the sun finally having set here in Old Bridge. Once again, Nugent lined up in a pistol look, 4 receivers wide. And the handoff goes up the middle for no gain, perhaps a loss of a yard.
Dixon got swallowed up in the backfield. I'm trying to get the number right there for the Chiefs. I think that was number 22. It was Jonathan Monasterio with the tackle.
Well, I don't want to speak in absolutes, Nick, but you would think if the Knights don't pick up much here, there is no way they would go for it on 4th down from their own territory.
Yeah, not in this spot of the field as well. But, I mean, they got a lucky bounce the last time on their late kick punt attempt, so maybe they're hoping it can happen once again. But obviously, this 3rd down play, they're trying to maybe make it a little bit more manageable, as they'll call it their first time out in this first half.
Well, the Knights have found a way to go for it on every 4th down in this game thus far. And they have found a way to convert on all of those 4th downs. Here they'll get a chance to talk it over. It is 3rd down and 12 officially. And Nick, what are you looking for here on 3rd and long?
Well, I think if you're Old Bridge, if you are trying to think about maybe going for it again on 4th down, you got to make it around about 4 or 5 yards at the very least in a 4th down conversion scenario where you could start, I mentioned it a couple of times, where you could maybe potentially force that neutral zone infraction and getting the 1st down marker. Now, for them in this play, we already have saw a 3rd and long play where Nugent scrambled out of the pocket and was able to find a receiver at the last second in the middle of the field and get that 1st down. Obviously, he'll look for something here. I would assume that they're going to try to throw the football. Maybe you would think maybe a curl flat type of play if you're the Knights to try and set yourselves up for either a 1st or a manageable 4th and short. But obviously, if you're Piscataway, you got to look out for Nugent's ability to run the football. And I mentioned earlier maybe putting a quarterback spy out for him. I would certainly put one out for this upcoming play.
3rd and 12. Nugent looking to his right. Rolls that way, in trouble. Avoids pressure, nearly escaped, but not this time. In on the sack, number 44, Horace Thompson. He was joined by Jonathan Monasterio.
Yeah, we saw Thompson already on the offensive side with the fullback ability, and right there and then, you saw Nugent trying to escape, trying to find room to run, but that pocket just collapsed and was not able to escape, and he gets brought down into the backfield. And this is a dangerous spot in the field, Joe, with this upcoming punt, as one missed snap on a punt attempt right here could go into the end zone, and then obviously for Old Bridge, it could lead to a potential safety or a touchdown. But we've already seen the special teams play a factor into this game for the Chiefs. It's gonna be tough for Old Bridge in this upcoming punt here, try to avoid another special teams touchdown.
We are just outside of the 2-minute warning, and the Knights wisely will let the clock run down to 2 minutes. And you know what, Nick? I think that may have been by design. I think they may have been trying to snap it at 2:01 to catch the defense off guard. Delay of game was called, so the 2-minute warning is not reached.
Well, that makes it even worse, Joe, for the punt, because now it puts your punter into the end zone.
I'm curious if they were aware of whether or not they had to snap that football ahead of the 2-minute warning. There's no way you're taking that penalty intentionally.
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't know, but if they didn't know, just by chance they happened to try and snap it at 2:01.
Oh, there it is, Joe.
Wow. You called it, Nick. That backs you up. Your long snapper, not accustomed to snapping the ball from in close to the punter. And the Knights snap it straight over Nugent's head for a safety.
Yeah, that's a brutal mistake. Once again, another mistimed snap. Again, the first time it happened, obviously there was the potential call for a neutral zone that could have led to a free play. But on this one right here, I mentioned it before the delay game happened. One errant snap over your punter's head leads to an easy safety for the opposing defense. And you saw after the delay game happened, it was just more than easy enough for that Chiefs team to get it. And there was just no chance for Nugent in the end zone to get it. He was about, maybe 3 or 4 yards into the end zone, and it just sailed over his head. And now despite not having an offensive touchdown in this game, Joe, Piscataway has a 2-point lead late in the first half.
And Nick, I think the positive for Old Bridge in this first half is that this Chiefs defense has had what has seemed like an impossible time getting you off the field unless you shoot yourself in the foot. Finally, here on this drive, the Piscataway defense stands, and they get the Knights in a 4th and long. The Knights then compound that with the pre-snap penalty, and the snap was not even close. Nugent didn't even leap. It was about 5 or 10 feet over his head. He had no chance.
And what's worse, Joe, is look where the ensuing kickoff is going to be kicked off from. It's about the 20-yard line of the Knights. So this has the potential to be once again dangerous for Piscataway to potentially return once again. And they kick it deep.
Yeah, not much you can do there as the Chiefs touch it and scoop it up. Several Knights there, and they make the tackle just past the Piscataway 45-yard line at the 46. But now you were looking at a punt from deep in your own territory. Instead, the safety puts 2 points on the board, and obviously the safety kick is what ensued. But now Piscataway gets what you would think is slightly better field position with the safety plus the 2 points.
And also, not only do they have the ball right now to potentially end the first half, they get the second half kickoff as well. So this is a all-important defensive drive upcoming for Old Bridge. They really could use a stop here before the end of the first half.
This Knights defense needs to come up big. They are only responsible for allowing 7 of these 16 points. Quick throw on the screen pass complete to Johnson. He has blockers, and he's out across midfield and down at the 46-yard line.
Quick gain of 8 right there as the referee trying to retrieve the ball. Piscataway trying to go quickly right here, Joe.
We saw Purnell on the opening drive complete a pass for a nice completion on 3rd down. Hasn't put it in the air much. Here he throws left, complete once again. That's caught by Ely. Ely has the first down, continues to fight, and is finally brought down inside the 40 with 1:20 on the clock.
Yeah, still a good amount of time. Keep in mind that the Chiefs still have their timeouts as well, going into the remaining 1 minute and change in this first half. So plenty of time, especially on the plus side of the territory of Old Bridge right here.
Keep in mind the clock is stopped as the ball is spotted on a first down pickup. On the move, Purnell. He takes off and slides.
And a wise decision right there to go down with the slide. And we'll have to see when Piscataway starts calling timeouts. And right on cue, they call their first one.
I think that's the right time, Nick. I like that use of the timeout. The quarterback had to scramble. They had 3 consecutive plays in the books. Give your offense a breather and a chance to talk things over here, especially after your quarterback kept it and ran on that last first down snap, picking up a gain of about 6. So if you're the Knights, obviously priority number 1 would have been to keep Piscataway off the board. With a first down picked up and the ball inside the 35, they're going to need to put in a strong effort here defensively to make that happen. That being said, if you allow the touchdown, the extra point puts you behind 2 possessions, and with Piscataway getting the second half kickoff, that's a position you need to avoid.
Well, I think if you're Old Bridge defensively on this drive, Joe, I think the one thing you have to look out for, you got to look out towards the sideline and make sure that they don't get those sideline passes, because that will prevent Piscataway from calling timeouts and keep them from wasting any seconds off of this clock.
Shotgun set with pre-snap motion from Ely. Purnell looking that way, takes off, tucks and runs. He's across the 25, headed for the sideline, and out of bounds at the Old Bridge 24.
Late flag on the field as well, Joe. I wonder, where the flag is, that could be potentially holding on the offense.
Flag was certainly thrown in that area.
And that is the call. Backbreaker right there for Piscataway. They got the first down, and now it comes back 10 yards.
Well, once again, Nick, you took the words right out of my mouth. A back-breaking penalty called against the Chiefs in that spot will back them up, and it sets up what is going to be now a second down and long.
Art at the 44-yard line. They need to get to the 30 for the first down marker. So second and about 14 coming up for Piscataway right here with just about 45 seconds to go in the first half, and the Chiefs still have 2 timeouts remaining.
Some margin for error now for this Knights defense as the Chiefs line up in the shotgun, 4 receivers wide. Purnell will look to throw. He airs it out, deep downfield, and it's intercepted! Picked off by Xavier Diaz, and the Knights defense comes up huge with a stop in the closing seconds of this first half.
And Manjo does that penalty, the holding, even loom larger for Piscataway right there. They had gotten the first down. It came back due to the holding. It sets them up now for 2nd and long, and Purnell throws an interception. And for Diaz, he pretty much had to wait and see to get that interception. He was in the right place at the right time. And now Old Bridge will get the football back. It looks like maybe about 42 seconds to go in the half. They're at their own 9-yard line, though, Joe. So I'm not sure what they would try to scheme up here before the end of the half. Because, again, you're still in a dangerous spot with already, you would think they're going to probably take a knee. But right now, they're not set up to do that. They are still in the regular formation that they've been doing this entire first half.
Well, Nick, I have to be honest with you. I was looking for the kneel down the way this first half has gone. We've seen quite a few miscues, and you can't afford one backed up against your own end zone. But maybe they hand it off here, and they will.
Dixon got swallowed up again. He lost maybe about 2 yards on that play.
The Chiefs were ready for that, and I think the alternative to the kneel down is handing the ball off to your back.
And the Chiefs now calling a timeout. So they're down now to 1 timeout remaining. I think they're at the point where they're hoping maybe for another botched snap that they can take advantage of and get a recovery late in the half that puts them set up for a goal line opportunity.
Well, Nick, I fully expected the Knights to kneel. I don't know if I like that timeout by the Chiefs. I think the Knights were content to let the remainder of the half run out, and if they're willing to do that, I think you let them, because as the Chiefs here, you have just the 1 timeout left. So if the Knights choose to run the half out, they can do so. That being said, perhaps you get another miscue that results in points. The Chiefs have been on the receiving end of many of those.
I think now where you mentioned the QB kneel earlier, I feel like this is the best opportune time to do it because you've had 2 snaps go over the quarterback because of the shotgun formation, and obviously one of them was a punt. But once again, Joe, they set up in shotgun with Dixon to the left of Nugent.
Well, to be fair, the first errant snap was a timing issue.
Right.
I think the center was the only one who was expecting the play to start where it did. Nugent will keep here, and he is met by Thompson.
See if the Chiefs call that last timeout.
I think they certainly will if they called one on the previous play, and they do.
Now, Joe, you would have to inform me, what is the play clock for these games?
Ooh, way to put me on the spot, Nick.
I know, it's tough.
I would guess it's 30 or 40, maybe 35, but that's a good question. The play clock is not kept on the venue scoreboard.
There's about, 15 seconds to go in the half? 19?
Yeah, but once again, with no timeouts left now, if the Knights choose to kneel it, the half is over.
Right.
And, if you're the Chiefs using those timeouts there, you're obviously hoping for a turnover and another chance, so I understand it from that perspective. If you had 3 timeouts, 100% I'm using my timeouts.
I think now if you're Old Bridge, you take the knee. Because if you, God forbid for their sake, if they fumble on this next play, then that will lead to a potential scoop and score, or even just, opportunity to lead to a next touchdown.
And I think they're going to take the knee here, Nick, or at least line up to do so. So they allowed the Chiefs to use a pair of timeouts. And here they are lined up in a formation that would lead you to believe that the play is going to be a kneel down. But Nick, do you ever really know? It's a knee.
Well, yeah. Okay.
And that'll do it for the first half. So at the halftime break, our score, the Chiefs 16 and the Knights 14. When we come back, the second half in this New Jersey high school football matchup, the home team Knights trailing by a pair at the halftime break.
Getting a home loan shouldn't feel like an obstacle course. At CMG Home Loans, getting a loan is simple. Our loan officers are here for you every step of the way. With over 2,000 five-star reviews, when you're ready to buy or refi, we'll work together to find the loan you need for the home you love. CMG Home Loans. Simplified, trusted, committed.
Welcome to the All-American Ford Bronco Barn. That's right, we turned part of our showroom into a Ford Bronco Barn. All-American Ford in Old Bridge has the largest selection and best prices. Our Bronco Barn features custom Broncos, Bronco heritage signage, accessories, and more. All-American Ford in Old Bridge is truly your Ford Bronco headquarters, and there's something for everyone from the Big Ben trim level to specialty Broncos. Ride topless in a Bronco from All-American Ford. Visit us in Old Bridge or shop online at allamericanfordinoldbridge.com.
Since 2003, Elite Sports Physical Therapy of Morganville has developed customized care and physical therapy programs for thousands of athletes through evaluation and setting athletic goals. Whether a torn ACL, dislocated shoulder, or concussion is keeping you on the sidelines, our highly trained physical therapists can help you recover and return to the field or court in better shape than ever before. Come see what we are all about. Visit us at elitespt.com or call us today to book a consultation.
Getting a home loan shouldn't feel like an obstacle course. At CMG Home Loans, getting a loan is simple. Our loan officers are here for you every step of the way. With over 2,000 five-star reviews, when you're ready to buy or refi, we'll work together to find the loan you need for the home you love. CMG Home Loans. Simplified, trusted, committed.
At Bagel Boy Bagel Shop in Old Bridge, we're more than just bagels. Come visit us at 2329 County Road 516, where we bake our bagels and bread fresh daily, have the freshest fruit and veggie platters, and an assortment of sandwiches and plates that are sure to satisfy. Bagel Boy is a proud sponsor of all things Old Bridge. Go Knights and go to Bagel Boy. 2329 County Road 516 and at bagelboyonline.com.
Old Bridge students take advantage of the Old Bridge special at Bagel Boy. 10% off all purchases with your valid student ID.
Getting a home loan shouldn't feel like an obstacle course. At CMG Home Loans, getting a loan is simple. Our loan officers are here for you every step of the way. With over 2,000 5-star reviews, when you're ready to buy or refi, we'll work together to find the loan you need for the home you love. CMG Home Loans. Simplified, trusted, committed.
When it comes to buying and selling a home, do it with Peter Hunt's home team, powered by Century 21. For years, Peter has dedicated his life to the real estate industry, offering help and care to all of his clients. With experience and proven results, Peter is an award-winning realtor and the top producer for Century 21 Action Plus. A resident of Old Bridge, put Peter to work at selling your home or finding the home of your dreams. Call 1-800-299-2129 or reach Peter directly at 9086-014-934.
Old Bridge Football is sponsored by lettering.com. Order vinyl lettering with unmatched production efficiency. With one-day turnaround and free shipping, we are unmatched when it comes to signage, boat lettering, mailboxes, window lettering, and of course, helmets and sports apparel. Free shipping always, and the best prices around. It's lettering.com for all of your lettering needs.
Joe Foreman back with you from Lombardi Field in Old Bridge, New Jersey, as we approach the start of the second half with the Piscataway Township High School Chiefs leading the home team, the Old Bridge High School Knights, by a score of 16-14, and it was a very entertaining first half. If you're a fan of the Knights, things got off to a great start for you. Old Bridge methodically moving down the field on their opening drive, converted 3 separate fourth downs on their way to a scoring drive to open up the scoring and go in front 7-0. On the ensuing Piscataway drive, the Old Bridge defense came up with a big fourth down stop. Unfortunately, miscues led to a turnover by Old Bridge, and I believe the second play of that second drive, the snap went awry and over the head of Brody Nugent into the end zone, and the Knights surrendered their first touchdown on defense, tying the score at 7. Next drive for Old Bridge didn't go much better. However, they did benefit from a fake punt attempt on fourth down. The fake punt then was punted away by Nugent. He initially looked to pass, elected instead to try and boot it away. He booted it straight off of a Chiefs player and into the arms of Griffin Nugent. That allowed the Knights to recover with great field position and score for the second time to go ahead 14-7. However, Nick, from there, Piscataway seized control.
Yeah, and we've seen already a scoop and score on a play where obviously, as you mentioned, there was a missed time. It looked like there was a neutral zone infraction on that play that should have been called and should have been a free play for the Knights, but it said no call on the field leads to the scoop and score. It tied the game at 7. Then we saw Old Bridge go back down the field. They had a penalty, they had a punt that led to one of the players for the Chiefs getting the ball knocked off of his leg, it looked like, leading to that second touchdown for Old Bridge. Then we saw the ensuing kickoff, another short kick leading to Atkinson getting the touchdown to take the lead. And then I mentioned when after the sack for Nugent where they were backed up at around the 9-yard line, and then they had a delayed game call just before the 2-minute warning. It backed them up into pretty much the end zone. The errant snap goes over Nugent's head for the safety. And just like that now, Piscataway, despite not scoring an offensive touchdown in that first half, they have a 2-point lead and the football to start the second half.
And Nick, during the pregame, you and I talked about it. Piscataway just has a knack for scoring without possessing the ball on offense, and that's been the case yet again tonight. You said it. No points on offense in this game for the Chiefs. That being said, the Knights do have some issues to correct. Obviously, pre-snap penalties. The snap that went awry was a timing issue. That obviously needs to be sorted out. And I think a conundrum that Old Bridge faces entering the second half, what do you do on the kickoffs? You can't send it deep, given what we saw from Piscataway last week. They've been trying to stay away from that. You kick it short. Atkinson makes you pay this time with the return touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly you can do in this upcoming kickoff if you are Old Bridge, because you mentioned it. Johnson already has the kickoff return, 3 that he had last week, and then Atkinson in this game has already the touchdown on the short kick. So now the question, coming into this half is going to be, I don't want to say you want to intentionally kick it out of bounds because you're already giving your opponent a head start. You're pretty much putting them at around the 40-yard line. But at the same time, can you really afford to kick it to these can you really afford to kick it to the Chiefs once again and try to give them a potential another touchdown on the special teams unit? So that's a tough task for Matt Donahue and this entire Knights team coming out into the second half and trying to figure out what they can do exactly to avoid another kickoff return from happening.
Yeah, and I think that's something that the Knights will need to figure out entering the second half. And obviously, Nick, they will have to figure it out very quickly. As we mentioned before, Piscataway will be receiving the second half kickoff, and that's something else that is important to note as we get set to begin the second half. We're still waiting for the two teams to take the field here at halftime. So right now we would anticipate a minute or two, and here come the Knights. So Old Bridge taking the field right here, and in just a couple of minutes they should be joined by Piscataway as we await the start of half number 2. But Nick, obviously, we mentioned it, Old Bridge with some issues to correct. However, we shouldn't forget that when you haven't scored any points on offense, there are things to figure out on the other side as well.
Yeah, I think for Old Bridge, they've had they've had some miscues offensively. Maybe not running the football as maybe they would have liked to have had in this game. Eugene has gotten them certainly a good amount of yards in this one. But defensively, we've seen Piscataway try to run the football a bunch of times. We saw Johnson, as I mentioned earlier, who had the kickoff returns last week. He's had a couple receptions in this game. But Old Bridge has, for the most part, played a pretty good, solid defensive game in this one. The problem is, unfortunately, the miscues on offense have put them into this spot heading into the second half. If they can avoid, these mistakes that they have, and I mentioned it also, where now do you maybe in the second half, we know Old Bridge's style is setting your quarterback up in shotgun formation and maybe, have him scout the field to see where he's going to go with the football, whether that's going to be a run or a pass. But now with the two missed snaps, do you maybe make a change at center? Do you maybe make a change in scheme where you go under center to try to avoid that from happening once again? There's a lot of things that the Knights definitely talked about at halftime to try to fix going into the second half, but the main focus now to start the second half, obviously, their defense has got to keep doing the things they've been doing already in this first half. They forced an interception late in that first half to avoid this from potentially being a two-possession game. They once again will have to try to avoid this from being a two-possession game to start the second half.
And Nick, we've spoken quite a bit about the two poor snaps. Not to be lost in those two plays either is that both of those plays were awkward situations. One was a situation where there was some sort of miscommunication between the center and the rest of the Knights because there was no other Old Bridge player who expected that play to begin when the ball was snapped. That being said, you brought up the point that maybe they weren't moving because they believed there should have been a neutral zone infraction. That's something else to keep in mind on that particular play. Going back to the poor snap on the punt, the Knights were backed up very close to their end zone. That forces your punter to line up much closer to the line of scrimmage than the long snapper is accustomed to. And when that happens, you are prone to mistakes like that where the snap goes a bit high. So, all right, we are back here on the PDF Sports Network, our internet feed here in the press box. Not cooperating early in the second half as we were completely knocked offline.
Knights are not happy, Joe. They were looking for an intentional grounding on that last play, on that throwaway from Purnell.
So on the kickoff that opened the third quarter, it was Bryce Payne who initially bobbled the ball.
Now a late flag is thrown on the field.
And Payne had a chance to return it for 6. He was denied by Zamir Evans on a shoestring tackle at about the 30-yard line. Instead now of what could have been another special teams touchdown, it is 3rd and long.
Well, Joe, if you didn't see, there was a penalty called on the field.
Intentional grounding was called, Nick. You mentioned it. They were looking for that penalty on the Knights sideline. They got it.
The Knights were pleading for it, and I think the officials had a conversation about it. And obviously, as you see, they're going to move the ball backwards. And now that makes it an even longer 3rd down conversion coming up for Piscataway right here. So a good chance for the Knights to get an early 3 and out and get the football right back for their offense.
It is 3rd and a mile. Officially 3rd down and 20. And if Old Bridge can get off the field here, they give it right back to their offense in a 2-point game. Very likely with great field position.
Let's say if they go wide receiver screen here, Joe. Sometimes you see that on 3rd and long. Try to set up, at least get a couple yards.
There it is. There was a mismatch on that side. The Knights rally and don't get there early enough. That's a big gain on 3rd and 20.
And honestly now, it gives you the conversation of, do you potentially maybe go for it? Yes, you're on your own territory. It is very dangerous.
They're going for it, Nick. I think they're certainly going for it.
It looks to be, I think it's 4th and 4.
Oh, they moved them back. I thought they were closer, and they will not go for it.
But is this now? I'm also looking at the down marker. It says 3rd down.
It's 4th down.
It should be 4th down.
It says 4 now.
Okay.
You know,
do they go with a hard count here maybe to try to draw them offside and get the 1st down that way?
I think you certainly try it.
They do have a punt formation, though. They have the punter in the backfield.
They sent the quarterback off the field. It's a low snap. Could be trouble. And the punter is leveled by the Knights as it was shanked out of bounds. A flag flies, and we will see what comes of this.
If that's could that be unnecessary roughness, maybe?
It might have been helmet to helmet, Nick.
Oh, no. That's bad for Old Bridge right there. That's a penalty you cannot afford, especially on 4th down.
They didn't need to take it, Nick. All they had to do was stand there, and they had it blocked.
And the punt didn't even travel that far. I think it went out around the 39-yard line?
I think the punt traveled maybe a yard or two behind the line of scrimmage. Obviously, it traveled a few yards.
They called roughing the punter. That was the call on the field. Yeah. That is a brutal penalty for the Knights right there. We're about to get off the field and have great field position, and instead, it's an automatic 1st down of coming for Piscataway.
And the way that they went in on the punter on that play didn't seem to lend itself toward blocking the kick, and I think that's why they ended up with the penalty. If they try and block the punt, I don't see any way they don't have it, but I think that after the bobbled snap on the low snap that set up that punt, they just went for a strict tackle. And you can't do that without trying to block the kick if the punter is trying to punt the football.
And think about how that drive has gone so far. It was 3rd and about 20. They went with the wide receiver screen to set them up. They got 16 yards out of it to set up 4th and short. That led to that punt that led to the roughing the punter and leading to this now 1st down, which is now, it looks to be 2nd, and they might have lost a yard.
They lost the yard on the Thompson carry on 1st down. Not an easy man to bring down behind the line of scrimmage. We haven't seen that much tonight.
Old Bridge crowd getting into it right now, trying to pipe up their defense. Again, stop.
The handoff goes to Bodley, and good push there by the Chiefs' offensive line as Bodley picks up about 6 or 7 yards. Give him 6, and it will be 3rd and 5. Well, now, if you're Piscataway, I think there's a very good chance you're in 4-down territory.
And I think also we saw early in the first quarter, that first drive for the Chiefs, they went with the fake run and threw an outside pass to Johnson. Watch out maybe again here, Joe, if they do the same thing exactly to try to get the first.
They will toss it right. One tackle broken. And standing up Bodley right at the 1st down.
Late flag again, Joe. They might have gotten the Knights for unnecessary roughness.
Munvey Francois stood up Bodley right at the sticks. I think they had him spotted a yard short, but as you said, Nick, a late flag may have afforded the Chiefs a first down.
I think after the play was over, I think they pushed him out of bounds, and maybe the tackle was made after the runner went out. So that might be a necessary roughness on the Knights defense, but we'll have to see what the officials do call on the field. Another potential, early penalty that could really loom large for the remainder of this game.
Well, if this is indeed a personal foul, that would be the second 15-yard personal foul on this drive.
And I think I have to look again. Did they call holding on the Knights defense? I didn't see what the official marked down. It was against the Knights defense. That is for sure. I just didn't know what the exact call was on the field.
Yeah, it looked like a holding signal, but they're moving the sticks 15 yards.
So it might have been maybe a necessary roughness.
I think it was a personal foul. It looked like a holding signal. Sometimes if the referee isn't overly emphatic on the signal, there can be a tough time making that call out from up here in the press box. But nonetheless, it's a first down for Piscataway. Looking for a touchdown, an extra point to make this a two-score game. Atkinson brought down behind the line of scrimmage on a nice tackle once again by Zamir Evans.
Yeah, and I think also for Old Bridge on this drive, though, obviously the big killer right now has been penalty yards. They've already given up 30 yards of penalty yards on this one drive with the roughing the punter and the unnecessary roughness. But that play right there from Evans certainly does help you in the grand scheme of things. That makes it second, and it looks to be about 12 yards upcoming for the Chiefs.
So, Nick, the signal wasn't holding. The officials signaled with an X. And I would presume
that's a personal foul.
A signal for a personal foul. Not what we're used to seeing, but that is a personal foul as the Chiefs hand off up the middle. Several Knights there, and that play goes nowhere.
Maybe a gain of one at best. They went with the fake toss to the outside and went on the inside fullback handoff. So 3rd and 11 upcoming for Piscataway. And obviously, if you are the Knights, you've already kind of shot yourselves in the foot on this drive already defensively. You really can ill afford anything else penalty-wise to keep this drive going for Piscataway.
Old Bridge should have been off the field twice. We spoke about some miscues on the offensive side in the first half. Here in the second half, we've seen a couple of mental mistakes on defense. And now, on 3rd and very long, the Chiefs come out in the shotgun, trips to the right, one man wide left, and they will throw another screen. The Knights were there. A tackle was broken, and Bryce Payne gets about half, maybe a bit more.
I think he's about 3 yards short of the first down marker.
This is not a very long kick. It would be about a 32-yard field goal.
They're at the 15-yard line, Joe, and they need to get to the 12 for the first down. I would tend to think that they're going to go for this.
I think you're right, Nick. Our internet feed still giving us issues. Our voice should be okay. The audio, usually not a problem. The video, not the same. It's a wildcat look for the Chiefs. They will run for it. Johnson fighting toward the sticks. He's pushed back.
I don't think he got it.
And I think he's short, Nick. And he is. 1 yard short.
The Chiefs were trying to get a late push to get him the first down, but a great job by Old Bridge's defense to hold him up before the line of the first down marker. And Joe, after a couple of bad penalties on this drive defensively for the Knights, they get off the field and now have a chance to regain the lead.
And you have to love that resilience from this Old Bridge defense. They were put in a tough spot by a pair of personal fouls, backed up in the red zone, and on 4th down and about 3, the defensive front for Old Bridge makes a stand as Johnson was pushed toward the first, but that battle is won by the Knights, and they take over now at their own 14-yard line. Once again, Old Bridge comes out in the pistol. 3 receivers set out left. Fake handoff. Nugent scrambling is past the line of scrimmage and stood up there.
I mean, I'll tell you this, Joe. He might have gotten maybe 3 or 4 yards, but that certainly could have been way, way worse for Old Bridge on that play. He had to juke out 1 or 2 defenders to avoid a tackle for loss, and he ends up getting a 4-yard pickup on the play.
That is a hard-fought 4 yards, and I've said it back in week 1 covering this Knights team, but those hits add up. There were 3 or 4 Chiefs piled on top of Nugent at the end of that play. And you hate to see your quarterback take too many of those hits over the course of a game.
And we know that he lowers the shoulder a couple of times as well when he's running, so he definitely puts himself into unfortunate danger, but he has been able to get up and standing and keep going for this Knights offense.
He is willing to make himself a downhill runner, as he does right here, lowering the shoulder and picking up a first down.
And he does indeed get that first down. You mentioned lowered the shoulder once again. And another big first down for the Knights. Saw how long their first drive of the game was, almost 9 minutes. They have under 5, now just about 5:30 to go in this third quarter. And with the way that they're currently positioned on the field, we'll have to see maybe if they go back to one of those streak plays that we saw last week. But obviously, they're going to make sure that running attack gets involved firsthand.
Shotgun set for the Knights as Nugent looks to run. He's headed for the sideline and is brought down and fumbles. Nugent claims he was down, but the referee disagrees. It is going to be Chiefs football in Knights territory, as this one is going to be spotted at the Old Bridge 34.
And I thought initially, too, on the point of contact that might have been called for a fumble. And I can see the case for Nugent and company to think that he was down. Tough to call right there from the angle that we currently had. But, man, after a great defensive stop for Old Bridge, they now give it right back to Piscataway. And now the Chiefs will start this drive at the Knights' 34-yard line. So, unfortunately, Joe, once again, the Knights shooting themselves in the foot again with another costly turnover.
Obviously, you hate to see that if you're Old Bridge, especially given the way that previous drive just ended. And you spoke about it in the first half, Nick. The Chiefs' defense was taxed. Now the Knights' defense is right back out there after a long drive to start the third quarter. Play fake. Purnell scrambling to his right. Running out of time, throws downfield as a flag flies in the area of holding.
And that is indeed the case. It is holding on that Chief offense. Knights fans getting into this one, Joe. I think after that penalty now you get a little bit more breathing room if you're that defense. Now 1st and 20 coming up, but they have to be wary of that screen pass that the Chiefs have been running to start the second half that have gotten them a bulk amount of yards that have set themselves up for 3rd and short or even 4th and short that have put them in position to extend this drive.
Obviously, Nick, one of these two teams will come out of this game with a win, the other with what is sure to be a disappointing loss. The losing team is going to look back at some of the miscues in this game and really wish they could have several of those back, because both teams have had self-inflicted wounds throughout the night.
And think about also both of these teams' losses are by 1 possession in their first couple games of the season. So right now we're on that pace once again as another false start is called on the Chief offense.
This is nothing if not a disastrous start to the drive, as Piscataway is now backed up nearly all the way to midfield.
Yeah, they're at the 49-yard line. This drive started at the 34. They've lost 15 yards of penalty yards to start this drive.
Official stats are compiled at week's end, so we don't have those on hand. That being said, when you go back and look at the penalty yardage in this game,
there's a lot.
It is going to be a hefty number. But as I said, Nick, one of these two teams will overcome that tonight and come away with a win. And at this point, it is anyone's game.
So now 1st and 25 for the Chiefs right here at the 49-yard line.
Chiefs are in a big hole, and they will hand off up the middle on 1st and 25. Good effort on that run. Picks up about 3 or 4. There's Bodley on the carry. Bodley, not a big back, 5'9", 160 pounds, and obviously sharing the backfield with him is Thompson, as I mentioned before, at 5'11", 256.
You got to wonder, I think, in this spot, Joe, what is the field goal range for their kicker of the Chiefs right here? That might be the strategy they try to go into this drive, but it's going to be tough because the first down marker is at around the 24-yard line. So this just might, depending on how many yards they are away from the first down, it could be just 4-down territory, regardless here for Piscataway.
If they're this far back, I think you play the field position game up by 2, but we'll see how close they get. Second down, it's a throw short right, incomplete. And I'm not sure they would have had much there as a pair of Knights were rallying to make that tackle on Bryce Payne. It is third and very long here.
Yeah, I would expect another screen play here from Piscataway, or maybe just an inside handoff. Try to get some yards, maybe try to fool the defense on this upcoming third and about 21 yards.
It is third down and 22. If they ever needed a big completion from Landon Purnell, now's the time. Will they put it in the air and throw it downfield again? It looks like they will. Purnell sets up the screen, and it's picked off! The Knights have it! Intercepted by Justin Valinati! And Old Bridge has it inside the Piscataway 30-yard line.
Joe, how about Valinati these last couple of weeks for this defense? I didn't mention this in the pregame, but he was a big factor into that win last week against Edison. 13 tackles, 11 of them were solo tackles. Now here tonight, look at this play on the screen. Read the play perfectly, got in front of the running back, and picked it off. And look at where Old Bridge now sets themselves up. And they're at around the 30-yard line to start this upcoming drive. A huge momentum swing right there for the Knights.
Second interception of the night for this Old Bridge defense. The second thrown by Purnell. And initially, Nick, it looked like they were setting up a verticals look. You snuffed it out right away. Screen pass toward the near side. And you weren't the only one who picked up on it. Valinati all over it as well. And he comes up with the huge interception. Old Bridge now in possession of the football in a 2-point game.
Obviously, the main focus on this drive, Joe, protect the football. Fumbles have been an issue in this game for Old Bridge.
It goes without saying, Nick, you have to come away with points on this drive, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. Points have been at a premium.
I think they got called for false start.
And you know what, Nick? I've seen it more than once tonight. It looked like Griffith got a head start on that play. Let's see if they say who it was. They don't. But if you take a look at Griffith, he gets moving right with the snap. On some plays, perfectly timed. On other plays, a bit early, and I think that's where the flag came in.
I thought originally when the game started, maybe they were calling a legal formation. And I kind of reiterated that with the game we had last Thursday in the NFL with the Chiefs and the Ravens, where a lot of illegal formations were called in that first drive of the game. And I thought maybe that's originally what was happening to start the drive for the first drive of the game, but they were calling a lot of false starts, and that might have been the reason why those false starts were getting called. Griffith, as you mentioned, getting just a little bit of a head start.
They will hand off up the middle. And right there waiting was Jonathan Monasterio. We've said his name more than once tonight. He was the first man to meet the back. That was Dixon on the carry. And it's a gain of maybe a yard. Yeah. It's still second and long.
And, we've already talked about how penalties have played a factor, especially on the Old Bridge side of things. Now, you had 1st and 10 to start off the drive. That false start pushes you back 5 yards. And now you have a second and about 14 coming up on this ensuing play. And I would not be surprised if they go to Nugent on this upcoming play. Maybe a little bit of a read option to try to fool the defense and try to get a potential first down, or at least make it 3rd and short.
Shotgun set, fake handoff. Nugent keeps it. He accelerates upfield and is tackled at the 25, 5 yards short of a first down.
Yeah, kind of what I expected. I think, going with that read option, faking the inside handoff, and at the very last second, Nugent kept it himself and was able to make it, as you mentioned now, 3rd and more manageable 5 yards.
Nugent will look toward his bench here. We've seen this more than once tonight. The Knights hurry to the line and then wait for some instruction from the bench area. Nugent looking left, now looks right. He's forced to roll that way, scrambling. He throws end zone. Griffith has a step, but it's out of his reach, incomplete.
Yeah, Griffin at the last second had a chance, but it was overthrown right there by Nugent. And obviously, Joe, this is 4-down territory, it looks like, depending on if maybe they try to go for a very long field goal. They're at the 25-yard line, so I think that's around, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a 42-yard kick.
42, yep.
So unless you have the range from your kicker in this spot, you're most likely to go for it. Maybe you try to go that hard count, and depending on where the spot of the football is, you get either 4th and inches or you make it a first down marker. So if you're Piscataway, obviously need to avoid, going over the neutral zone and giving the Knights 5 more yards.
4th down and a short 5. Big play in this game for the Knights. Nugent looking to throw. Steps up. Scrambles. Breaks one tackle, but is taken down just short of a first. In on that tackle was Kobe Bell, one of the defensive backs for this Piscataway defense, and once again, the Chiefs defense makes a big stand.
And not to go without mentioning, that penalty that started the drive also playing a factor into how that one went down for Old Bridge. It set them back 5 yards, put them at 1st and 15, and to Nugent's credit, he got them back down into the original position to make it 3rd and 5. But as you mentioned, that incompletion on 3rd down sets up the 4th and 5. Nugent, to his credit, gave it all he had to try to get the first down marker, but was just, it looks like maybe 2 yards shy of getting the first down and extending the drive. And once again, Joe, that Old Bridge defense has to come back out onto the field. And they, as we mentioned, have been on the field quite a bunch in this 3rd quarter.
At the very least, if you're Old Bridge, this time you have some breathing room. This drive starts from the 20. Handoff goes up the middle for Bodley. Big hit in the hole as Bodley is taken down for a gain of about 2. Second and 8 coming up as we approach the final minute of this 3rd quarter. Coming into this game, Nick, we spoke about it. We weren't sure what to expect, be it a shootout or a very defensive, low-scoring game. We've gotten the game of the low-scoring defensive variety tonight.
Yeah, I think also early on we might have thought it was going to be maybe a shootout, but I'll make my point in just a moment, as it looks like maybe a gain of 2 on that play to make it 3rd down. But, with the way that Old Bridge's first drive went, where it took near 9 minutes, that's where you thought it was going to be maybe a little bit more of a shootout. Then we had a lot more scoring in the 2nd quarter. But these defenses have really made a big impact late in the 2nd and as well here in the start of the 3rd, now heading into the 4th. And Piscataway, as we've mentioned already a bunch of times, Joe, still without an offensive touchdown, but they still have this 2-point lead heading into the 4th.
Final seconds tick off the clock in quarter number 3, and we will head to the 4th with our score. Piscataway Township High School Chiefs 16 and the Old Bridge High School Knights 14. Be sure to stay with us for the 4th quarter in this New Jersey high school football matchup exclusively on the PDF Sports Network.
Getting a home loan shouldn't feel like an obstacle course. At CMG Home Loans, getting a loan is simple. Our loan officers are here for you every step of the way. With over 2,000 5-star reviews, when you're ready to buy or refi, we'll work together to find the loan you need for the home you love. CMG Home Loans. Simplified, trusted, committed.
And we are back from Lombardi Field. Third down, Chiefs. And they fumble the football! And it's recovered by the Knights. Zamir Evans, who has already made 2 huge tackles tonight, comes out with the fumble recovery, and we will see who knocked that football loose.
Well, Joe, I was going to make the point that this place is rocking right now, heading into the fourth quarter, and they are certainly rocking after that play. I'm curious to see who got the fumble forced out, but a huge recovery, and once again, another fumble plays a dividends in this game, and now for Old Bridge, once again, Joe, they've got to take advantage of this field position. They have not been able to do so, at least in the last possession they weren't able to. You have to believe now they have to get it done on this upcoming possession right here.
And Nick, we spoke to the man who punched that football loose. It was Tommy Kasoff.
He's been very involved tonight as well in this game. And I believe you said Zamir Evans was the one that recovered it. So 2 guys that have been a instrumental part of the defense here tonight for the Knights. And now they're hoping that their offense can get back the momentum that they had in the first half offensively when they scored on 2 of their first 3 possessions.
Nugent in the shotgun. That turnover is the 3rd of the night for the Chiefs. 2 interceptions and now a fumble. Old Bridge takes over at the 45. And Nugent will hand off. Dixon has running room. He's into the secondary and is tackled at the 25.
And see how dangerous that read option play can be, Joe. Everyone was expecting Nugent to take off with it, and he handed it off to Dixon on that play, and a great strong run gets him all the way inside the 30. Looks to be around the 25, 26-yard line. Big first down to start off the drive for Old Bridge.
It looked like Nugent kept that ball for quite a while before he gave way to Dixon, and I think the defense believed that as well. This time Nugent keeps. He has running room, has blocking, lowers the shoulder, and takes it down to the 11-yard line.
How about this start to the drive? Back-to-back runs on, it looks to be read option plays, and it's worked to the favor of the Knights on this one, putting them just a yard shy of the goal line. 1st and 10 at the 11. Coming up for the Knights, and they have a chance to take back the lead.
And, Nick, they spot the football where Nugent began his head-first dive. So he is spotted at the 13.
Okay.
The 13. He began a head-first dive, so that is where the ball was spotted.
So the first down marker is at the 3.
Nugent will keep again. He has the edge.
Again,
goes out of bounds just inside the 10.
Looks like he's down at the, looks to be the 8-yard line. So it should be 2nd and about 5 coming up for Old Bridge.
It is officially a 2nd and 5. Nugent will get his receivers reorganized, and we've seen very often the Knights like to assemble trips to the wide side. This time they have one receiver tight to the line on that side, and that was for the play action on the jet sweep. It is Dixon on the carry, and he is taken down short of the line to gain. It looks like it's going to be 3rd and about...
I think he got a yard, so 3rd and about 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah, they're at the 7-yard line. They need to get to the 3.
And Nick,
they moved it to the 6, so now it's a yard extra.
If you don't get this, as Nugent will keep, he's rolling left, has Griffith open for a touchdown. Jaden Griffith all alone on the goal line, and Nugent finds him on the bootleg.
And that was pretty much no man's land for Piscataway right there, Joe. Even if Nugent did not decide to throw the football, he had that side of the field wide open if he wanted to take off and scramble, but he finds his number 1 guy, Jaden Griffith, for the touchdown. And talk about how this game has gone. Old Bridge having to come into the half down 2 with the Chiefs having the football to start the second half. Their defense has made some big plays in this second half, forcing that last fumble to get themselves back into prime territory. And with that passing touchdown now for Nugent, it gives his team a 20-16 lead. The extra point attempt is good, and it's now a 21-16 lead for Old Bridge. Joe, we are in for one great finish here at Lombardi Field.
No question about it, Nick. No question about it.
I haven't mentioned it already, this place is rocking these last couple of minutes. And, obviously a great theme tonight being it, on the festive side of things with Christmas night. And it's certainly no silent night, that's for sure, for this Old Bridge team. Now having this 5-point lead. And now they get to bring the defense back out there. Obviously, they've been on the field a bunch here in the second half. But the way they've been playing, they have to feel very confident. The question's going to be now, Joe, what do they do on the upcoming kickoff? We saw what they did last time out. Will they try to maybe go back to what they did in the start of the second half? Or do they even think about maybe trying to squib it once again?
It's been a conundrum that we brought up more than once tonight. And they will send it deep, hoping to perhaps outkick the return man. That does not happen. This is Bodley with blocking. And Bodley is stood up by a host of tacklers just past the 30.
All right, looks like to be around the 27-yard line. And obviously, Joe, this one's going to sting for Piscataway if they are not able to come out on top with the victory. They've had multiple chances here in the second half to extend their lead at that point in time to a 2-possession game at the very best for them. But now, because of them not being able to score the touchdown, not only were they not able to extend their lead, they now trail once again in this game. And as we mentioned, they are still without an offensive touchdown in this game. So if they want to get on top with the victory, they're going to need their offense to step up more than ever in these final minutes of this fourth quarter.
So the Chiefs now trailing by 5 will need a touchdown. Strong pistol set here. Purnell looking right. Throws. And that is complete to Johnson, who is immediately brought down after a gain of just a yard.
Yeah, that was the initial read for Purnell on that throw. Looked towards Johnson, and he was waiting for Johnson to make his cutback on the route. And as you mentioned, a quick tackle for just a short pickup of 1 yard, maybe 2. We'll give it officially 1, so it'll be 2nd and 9 coming up.
Second and 9. Once again, a strong pistol set with a man in motion. That's Payne. They will hand it off to Payne. He has blocking in front of him. Looks to cut up field, but the Knights rally to make the tackle. A loss of about a yard on the play, and that will bring up 3rd and long.
Yeah, now pretty much a dangerous spot here for Piscataway. We've already seen them struggle on 3rd down in this game. Now you have a 3rd and about what looks to be maybe back to the line of scrimmage. So 3rd and a long 10 coming up for the Chiefs. But if they can't convert right here, then you have to think about what are they going to discuss in the sideline, because you're on your own territory. And I don't think you can realistically, with 6 minutes left, I don't think you can go for it on 4th down.
I don't think you can either, Nick. Pin this far back, I don't think you can. Though a field goal doesn't take you out of the game, so they might consider it. Purnell airing it out, sideline. And was it caught behind the tent?
It was.
I believe it was. Solomon Ely with a great grab behind the coach's tent, obstructed from our view.
Joe, it was hard to hear anything from up here in the press box. That Knights fan base has certainly been making a lot of an impact here in this fourth quarter, but that certainly silenced them right there. What a catch from Ely on that sideline to get the 1st down marker.
Shotgun set once again for the Chiefs. Purnell throws over the middle. That's caught. And Bodley is speared to the turf by Kasoff.
Kasoff from that linebacker position was quick on the play to make that tackle. It's now 2nd and about 9 coming up. And, with the time still winding down, still about 7 minutes to go. So thought originally it said 6. I was mistaken by the lights on the scoreboard. There are 7 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, so still plenty of time for Piscataway to get down the field. As timeout, I think, was taken by the Chiefs, and it was a timeout by the Chiefs.
So with that, we will step aside for a very quick break. I'll go off headset. We'll keep it right here. Old Bridge looking to make a stand defensively as Piscataway tries to go back in front with 7:21 remaining in the game.
All right, we're back here on the PDF Sports Network. Joe Foreman currently attending to an issue with our camera, so he'll be back just momentarily. He is quickly making his pace back into the commentary booth as there's a run right there and a first down for the Chiefs right there as they now get it to the 35-yard line, Joe, and extend this drive.
So the Chiefs offense continues to march down the field with a chance to go in front, still trailing by 5. This is obviously 4-down territory from here on. I don't think there's any chance they take 3 in the closing minutes of this fourth quarter.
Not a chance.
You know that if you're the Knights defense, and if you're this Chiefs offense, you know that you have that margin for error.
We've already seen the Knights defense back into their own territory get a turnover on downs forced. They're hopefully looking to get it again right here, or maybe force a turnover.
Purnell rolls to his left, wants to run now, avoids a tackler, has a block, and dives head first toward the sticks. That was a scary play.
And there's an injury on the field, Joe.
We have 2 players down.
Yeah.
Purnell was one of them. He gets up to his feet, but Zach Florio is down, and that did not look.
I think the helmet might have collided with his knee. I want to say that's what happened because he is holding his lower left leg.
Yeah, that did not look good. So they will attend to Florio, and given the way that looked, this could be a lengthy delay. So what we're going to do here is step aside and take a quick break. When we come back, we will have the final 6:21 in this fourth quarter. Old Bridge in front of Piscataway, 21-16.
He's getting up now.
So a positive development on the injury front. Florio was helped off the field and appears okay. That was a scary-looking collision. Initially, I was more concerned for Purnell, who went in head first, as he will hand off here. And Bodley has enough for the first down, as he's tackled just outside of the red zone.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to have any quarterback issues with injuries, especially at the head and neck area. And obviously what we saw last night in the NFL, don't want that to happen here tonight. But regardless of that, Joe, now that pickup right there looks to be about no gain on the play. So 2nd and 10 coming up. And as you mentioned, it's going to be 4-down territory regardless for the Chiefs.
1st and 10. Hand off to Bodley, and he has stood up at the line of scrimmage. First one in there was Jaden Endas.
It's going to be 3rd down now coming up here for Piscataway. Might have gotten a yard on that last play.
Right now I'm trying to manage our internet issues. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do with no wired internet in the facility. Our internet is only as strong as the mobile hotspot, and with the amount of cell phones and other wireless devices in the building, the hotspot just not powerful enough to transmit the high quality visuals we're used to. But we'll be with you here audio the rest of the way as
what a play.
Bodley goes down. And Nick, the Sticks read second down, as I said before. So it is now third down. They picked up a first previously, so I was correct. It was second down. It is now third down. It is now third down.
Trying to see who the number was on that play for the Knights that made that last tackle. I want to say that was Noah Balbuena that made that tackle right there.
Big third down here. It is going to be a 3rd and long. The Chiefs need 11 for a first down with just outside of 4 minutes to play. They'll have 2 shots to get this. Trips to the right, 1 receiver wide left. Purnell in the shotgun. He looks right, fakes the screen pass, throws end zone. Ely's open, and he makes the sliding grab at the 5. The ball was just a bit underthrown. Ely came back to get it, and he held on, sliding down to the turf. 1st and goal, Chiefs.
Joe, if you look at the replay, he had 2 wide receivers down the field wide open. He had the streak right up the middle of the field that could have gotten him a walk-in touchdown. But regardless, they still get the catch on the sideline with Ely, and now sets up 1st and goal at the 5-yard line.
The Knights have seen that screen pass so many times tonight. They were clearly ready for it there, but finally the Chiefs decide to fake the screen and throw it downfield, and I'm not sure they could have chosen a better time to do it.
Look for an inside handoff right here with 1st and goal. They're going heavy I formation, looks like.
That's a full house backfield. Handoff, Bodley, running room, touchdown. And Bodley.
And late flag, Joe. There was a push at the line of scrimmage.
I think this one might get called back. I don't know if that occurred before or after Bodley crossed the goal line. Dead ball foul or live ball foul is the question.
I thought that was after the touchdown was scored, but let's see.
I did as well. This is a huge call right here.
And there's a reason why it's a huge call, which I'll make the point in a second.
It's unsportsmanlike conduct against the offense, so I think the touchdown will stand. However, the 2-point conversion now backs up significantly.
Right.
And that matters quite a bit here as the Chiefs look to go ahead by 3.
Yeah, there was a little bit of pushing and shoving at the line at the line after the touchdown was scored, it looked like. And you mentioned it now, that 2-point conversion now to put you up a field goal gets pushed back even further. And really now puts you in a bad spot.
So the penalty is enforced on the 2-point conversion, backing the Chiefs up to the 17-yard line. I think regardless, Piscataway obviously is going to go for 2 in this spot and try and go in front by 3. That being said, it is going to be a tough conversion looming for the visitors.
Yeah, if you're Old Bridge right here, Joe, you cannot afford to give up the 2-point conversion. If you're able to get the stop, then you set yourselves up on offense to go down the field with 3:12 left to kick the game-winning field goal and come out on top with this victory. So a huge, important play upcoming for both of these schools.
I think if you're Old Bridge, it's good to know that regardless of what happens, you will just need a field goal. Obviously, you would like it to be a game-winning field goal try rather than a game-tying attempt. Spread shotgun set. Purnell will certainly have to throw it. He is looking downfield. Flush to his left and sacked! Once again, Zamir Evans makes a big defensive play, this time in the offensive backfield.
Yeah, it looked like Purnell was trying to scramble to his left and make sure that he could extend the play right there for the Chiefs. But Evans, with another huge defensive play in this game, had a fumble recovery earlier in this second half, and now with that sack, keeps it a 1-point game on the coming ensuing kickoff. So major stop right there for Old Bridge.
So the Knights will have 3 minutes and 12 seconds.
Oh, Joe, there was a holding. I think they called defensive holding.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
The Chiefs were back in their bench.
So Joe, you didn't notice this, and I saw it for a second. They sent the special teams unit out there to get ready for the kickoff and sent them back after they saw the flag on the field.
There it is. You know why we didn't see it, or at least I didn't?
It's
outside the scope of the window.
And now, obviously that puts you up further. The ball going to be marked at the 9-yard line. What a big break for the Chiefs, but again, it will be another 2-point try to try to put them up 3. We've already seen a roughing the kicker that almost cost the Knights earlier. They cannot afford to give up this 2-point conversion now marked at the 9. So big play once again coming up here for Piscataway.
Purnell throws left. It's a halfback swing screen. Bodley tried to take it upfield, but nothing doing. This time it was Noah Rios on the tackle, and it remains a 1-point game. Old Bridge will have 3 minutes and 12 seconds to set up a game-winning field goal.
I mean, if you're Old Bridge, you got to be, beating off some sweat right now in terms of how this game has gone. I mean, they thought they were off the field. A late defensive holding call was called, and they had to go right back out there to try to get the stop. And to their credit, they did get the stop and did not let that flag get to them. And now, as we've already mentioned, all they need is now a field goal with 3:12 to go in the game to go for the game-winning kick and get them on top for a 2-1 record. But they have struggled a bit in the second half for the most part offensively. That last drive they had where they got the touchdown was by far their best offensive drive. Not saying much, obviously, because they've had a couple of drives, obviously, with a couple of fumbles and turnover on down as well. So huge possession here that will all likely decide this game.
We said it earlier in the night. Miscues would haunt one of these two teams. The Chiefs have taken the lead. 3:12 to go. Nugent, the return man, makes a nice move and takes it out just shy of the 30-yard line, which is where his offense will get started.
I mean, what can Nugent not do in this game, Joe? He's punted, he's thrown, he's ran, he's kickoff returning now. He's done it all for this Old Bridge squad. But obviously now the main focus for him, get back on the field, set your team up into a potential game-winning field goal opportunity, and get your team a 2-1 record at the end of the night.
3:06 on the clock. The Knights have all 3 of their timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. And a flag is on the field. And I think it's a second sideline warning for the Chiefs.
Because that's their second, that should be an enforced outage.
Looks like that was the signal. The referee telling the staff and the players to back up off that sideline. Now, did they get flagged for a sideline warning earlier, or was that just the Knights?
No, they did.
Moved it up.
They did.
Yeah, 5-yard penalty.
When you get 2 sideline warnings, that's when they enforce the penalty. So that being their second one gives the Knights now an extra 5 yards. And now 1st and 5 upcoming.
Nugent on the keeper will get about 3.
And obviously also, Joe, you got to think about this for Old Bridge's side of the ball. You got the 2-minute warning. You got all 3 timeouts, so you have the time to get down the field and set yourselves up for, if you're in the position to do so, the game-winning field goal. But on the other side of things, if you're Piscataway, you want to ensure that there is at least some time on the clock, just in case they do give up those points and they have to try to give their offense a chance to potentially go down the field and win.
And Dixon picks up the first down and some more as he's finally gang tackled across the Old Bridge 45-yard line with the clock stopped at 2:26.
I think also, when you're in those pileups, Joe, you might want to go down and avoid any, the play continuing going longer and further, because then it could lead to potential fumble happening. So you want to make sure, especially if you're Old Bridge in this spot, that you do not give the football away. But if you didn't see, Joe, there was a flag for holding on Old Bridge once again, and that will back them up.
And Nick, it's obviously hard to see on the far sideline behind the pile, which is where the flag was, so we didn't see it initially, but I don't know if that's the only reason that we've missed a couple of flags from up here. It seems like some of those have come in awfully late.
Yeah, and that one now puts them back at the original line of scrimmage, which was the 30-yard line. So it's as if the Knights didn't get any yards beforehand, and it's now 2nd and 10.
Old Bridge backed up to their own 30. Nugent fakes the handoff and keeps it. He has blocking. Nugent up the sideline. Nugent into the second level. Cuts inside. Still on his feet. 20, 10, 5, and down at the 1-yard line.
The hustle to make that tackle, Joe, but what a run by Nugent. He can do it all, as I mentioned.
Nugent almost took it all the way for 6, and he goes down at the 1.
And, Joe, now I'm going to pose the question to you, because we're going to be at the 2-minute warning.
And, Nick, there's another late flag. It's coming back for holding once again.
I was going to pose the question, and you hear the fan base. They are livid with that call. The question I was going to pose to you is, with 1:57 and inside the 5, how do you go about that? Do you just try to waste some time and kick the field goal? But obviously now that's all a moot point, with another late holding call on the Knights, and now puts them back. And let's see, is that at the 20-yard line?
Tyler, let's go back and watch that replay. Did the flag come in immediately?
Well, you got to think, if it's at the 20-yard line, the original line was at the 30.
It had to have come in right away. Let's see. Yep.
Wow.
The hold occurred after Nugent had already sprinted into the second level.
Now, Joe, do they have to add time back onto the clock now?
No.
The clock is running, though. There should have been the 2-minute warning.
Yeah. The referee, patting his chest, will reset the clock back to 2 minutes here. So
there was 1:57 to go when the play ended.
Yeah. We have the 2-minute warning. And that's something that is easy to overlook in a situation like that. When you have a play that occurs following a penalty flag, obviously if you're the Knights, you know that play is getting called back, but any time that you waste on that play, continuing to play it through, does come off the clock and does not get put back on. Now, we should have reached the 2-minute warning.
They're still running the clock.
The clock
down.
is at 1:30. That should have been the 2-minute warning. Unless they reached it on the previous snap, I don't see how. Either way, Nugent will hand off. It's a double pass. And throwing downfield, incomplete, was Aiden Rios.
And, Joe, that could have been close to pass interference on that play.
I guess technically that would go down on the stat sheet as a halfback pass or a wide receiver pass, but a lot of the time you'll see the quarterback toss that ball or throw it to the receiver on the outside for the double pass. That time it looked like a direct handoff.
I'm not going to lie with you, Joe. I'm very confused about the clock management with the officials, because I swore after that 2 minute, after the play was called back, it should have been 1:57 or something left on the clock. But the clock kept running down, and now there's only 1:12 left, and we have, 3rd and 20 now.
Yeah.
Upcoming for the Knights. They're in a bad spot right now in this game.
Yep. They do have 3 timeouts, and I think now, if you end up in a 4th down situation, you have to try and save them.
Yeah.
Normally, you'd like to call a timeout ahead of 4th down as Nugent looks to throw. He has time rolling to his left. That time is running out. And Nugent fumbles it out of bounds.
And, Joe, look who it was again. Riley Wingate has been a menace for this defense.
He's had a great night. Now, the question on a play like that, the ball was fumbled forward out of bounds on a sack. I think the clock has to keep running there.
Well, I will say there was a flag again thrown on the field. That could have been maybe potentially. I don't know if they called intentional grounding.
I think he fumbled it, Nick.
I thought he did too. They're going to pick up the flag. I agree with you. He definitely fumbled the ball.
Now,
but I think the ball going out of bounds doesn't that stop the clock in that spot?
I think normally it would, but he fumbled it forward and out of bounds. It was a very awkward play.
Well, I will say they are keeping the clock stopped. So
yeah, I mean it's